SpongeKicks here for another Switch 2 game to review. So, I'm a bit late on this one. It's already been out for nearly a month now, but I was pretty busy back in June moving into a new apartment and doing with a lot of other stuff, so I didn't really have time to go out and get the latest Yoshi game. Between the madness, I ended up selling 2 of my older Xboxes and my original Switch, and I used the money to get Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, along with the new Tomodachi Life, the new StarFox, and I also pre-ordered the upcoming Rayman Legends remake. So Yoshi is a very important character in my life. Fun fact, Yoshi is a major part of why I love video games. The N64 was my very first console back in Christmas of 1998, and I was very new to the concept of video games by that time. I had vague memories of trying out Mario 64 at my aunt's house earlier that year, but all I had were vague memories of exploring Bob-omb Battlefield, Whomp's Fortress, and the first Bowser level, but I didn't have enough knowledge of what was really going on. I just knew I was having a fun time. But then when I got an N64 and was introduced more to it, like what you can do with this thing, you know, I was amazed. Like, the concept of video games were really new to me, so I thought, yeah, it was really cool how you control these characters with this controller, and I became addicted to it. So, my N64 came bundled with Super Mario 64, the first game I ever tried out, and also Yoshi's Story. So, while Super Mario 64 was the first game I technically played, Yoshi's Story was the first game I ever played upon getting the Nintendo 64, and it was the first video game that I not only beat, but it was also the first game I ever 100% completed. So, over time, my sister and I decided to claim one of the 2 games. She called dibs on Super Mario 64, so I settled for Yoshi's Story. So, yeah, in a way, Yoshi's Story was my very first video game. It's not my favorite game of all time, I'll admit, but it still has a special place in my heart, because it was the game that got me into video games in the first place. But yeah, I fell in love with the Yoshis. I loved their colorful designs, I loved the cute and funny noises they made across the game, so many adults will bash Yoshi's Story by calling it a baby game, but I remember the game getting very hard during some levels, so I feel like a lot of people who consider it a baby game never got that far. Like, try replaying the game and try getting all 24 levels. It's a lot harder than it looks. So, I won't argue that it's still one of the easiest Yoshi games ever made. Compared to a lot of the other ones, it is a lot easier, but it's not as brain-dead easy as others claim it to be. So, color my younger self surprised when eventually I got Mario Kart 64, and I was surprised to realize that Yoshi was a playable character, and so keep in mind, I was very new to the Mario series at the time. So I was shocked to realize that Yoshi was a Mario character all along. So over time, I got introduced to Yoshi's older games, like the first 2 Super Mario World games. I liked them fine enough, but to be honest, I always preferred Yoshi's Story over Yoshi's Island. Unpopular opinion, I know, but I just found Yoshi's Island too complicated and annoying during some of the levels, especially in the late game, and I honestly could not stand Baby Mario. But Yoshi's Island is still a good game, though. I love the art style, the music, the visual effects were really good for its time, but I don't think it's as great as people make it out to be. I will admit, though, I actually do like Yoshi's Island more than Super Mario World. I know it's confusing, because they're both called Super Mario World Yoshi's Island 1 and 2, but because the first one's more of a Mario game, and the second one's considered more of a Yoshi game, fans officially nicknamed it Yoshi's Island for the second one, and then they just called the first one Mario World. I'm surprised Nintendo never caught on to that. Like, with how many times they've re-released the game over the years, they really should have stuck with that. But, so despite being such a big fan of Yoshi, I'll admit I wasn't too excited for Yoshi and the Mysterious Book when it was first announced. It really looked like a slow game for younger kids, even more than the baby game that people claim Yoshi's Story to be. It doesn't help that a lot of the videos are really patronizing. Like, I honestly can't stand how Nintendo markets a lot of their games nowadays. You know, I grew up in the 90s. I grew up when the commercials had attitude. They were in your face. They were telling you, like, this game is awesome, you gotta get it. And then nowadays, it's like every commercial is just, you know, oh, look, what is Yoshi doing? Or, I don't know, it's just so patronizing. I hate how they advertise games nowadays. They advertise it like it's a preschooler show, and I can't stand it. I loved how edgy the commercials used to be. And I wish they had that attitude again. But anyways, I saw that the new Yoshi game actually reviewed very well. A viewer on YouTube asked if I was going to be reviewing it, so I gave in and I decided to finally get it. And overall, it is a decent game, but I'll admit it's probably not for everyone. The story is easily the weakest part of the game. So Bowser Jr. finds a giant magical book inside of his dad's castle, where he learns about a creature on Yoshi's Island called the Bewilder Bird. So he decides to fly over to Yoshi's Island to try finding this bird. Junior opens up the book, but he accidentally gets magically sucked into the pages, causing the book to drop onto the island. So the Yoshis gather around the book as it comes to life and introduces himself. The book wants Yoshi to leap into his magical pages full of these different creatures, as the Yoshis are tasked to make discoveries. It's a little confusing because, you know, this book is claiming how he has all this knowledge of creatures. Then why does he expect us to jump in the pages and make discoveries about them if he's so all-knowing? I don't know. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but it's just an excuse for you to go through these pages and make discoveries, the main gimmick of the game. So throughout the game, Yoshi will encounter Junior and Kamek as they're still trying to find the bird within the book's pages. It's overall a pretty forgettable story, but luckily the gameplay makes up for it. So instead of collecting power stars to progress like in Super Mario 64, we're collecting stars from these discoveries that we've made, which are basically missions and achievements in disguise. You'll need to collect a certain number of discoveries to progress through the story. I did a pretty decent job at collecting many discoveries across the game, so never once did I come to a halt where I had to backtrack and collect more to progress. So there's a little over 30 discoveries to make in each level. At first, there appear to be like 7 worlds, each containing 6 creature-themed levels. The 6th level in each world is treated similarly to a boss level, where we gotta deal with a bigger or more powerful creature. So upon defeating World 7 and receiving the end credits, we learn that the game is not over, and 3 more worlds have opened up, leading to the true final worlds and challenges. So there's 60 levels altogether, probably the most out of any Yoshi game. I honestly never understood why games think it's okay to prematurely show the end credits, like, they try fooling people into thinking the story is over, despite how it's not. I never liked that. Like, there are a few exceptions. Like, I loved Kid Icarus's, Kid Icarus Uprising. I loved its fake-out credits. That was, like, because I remember, like, when the credits appeared in the game, I was like, huh, that was a really short game. And then all of a sudden, Hades appears and breaks the 4th wall, and I loved that. That was a brilliant way, because that was a game where I wanted it to last longer. So, I was glad that we had a fake-out credit reel in that game. But for this game, like, I actually thought, like, oh, they're actually going to end it here? Okay, I felt like it could have been a little longer, but it was still decent, and then it's like, oh, there actually are more levels, okay? So, I get that they're wanting to surprise players who want the game to go on longer, but there's still better ways of doing it instead of fooling players into thinking the game's already over. So, upon reaching the final 3 worlds, we unlock a new feature where we can exchange 5 smiling flowers that we can collect across the game's worlds, and we can exchange them to unlock tools, which are basically just customizable HUD options. So we can drag and drop these icons across the screen in the shape of a frame. So it's kind of a neat idea. It lets players choose what they want on their HUD. Like, let's face it, there are plenty of games where, you know, there's like a certain icon on the HUD where you don't like its location or you just wish it wasn't there at all because you don't feel like it's necessary. And so, it's kind of cool to have a game where you can actually choose what you want or don't want on your HUD. Like, you can choose to have nothing on the screen if you want, if you would rather just have a clean image of the gameplay without these icons floating around and distracting the imagery. But, too bad most of these features are just useless gimmicks. For instance, there's a health meter. It's so pointless, though, because Yoshi is invincible in this game, so why do you need an icon to show how many hearts he has if the hearts have no use in this game? There's an egg counter, which is already pointless, since we can already count how many eggs Yoshi has following him on the screen. That lets us know how many eggs he has, so why do we need a number to let us know what we can clearly count on screen? I mean, he can only carry 6 at a time. I could understand if, like, Yoshi could carry up to, like, 100 or more, then yeah, a counter like that would come in handy. But for 6 measly eggs, it's kind of useless. Then there are some real pointless ones, like ones that tell you what type of water Yoshi is standing in, or it lets you know, like, if it's salt water, or something. It's like, okay, why, though? There's one that reads Yoshi's heartbeat. Why would anyone need these useless features flooding the screen? All they do is just take up too much space. So, not all the tools are useless, though. There are some that could come in handy for those who want to 100% complete the game. You got some radars, like there's a flower radar, so it shows you where to find the missing flowers. It doesn't necessarily hand them over to you, but it gives you an idea of where you need to go to start looking for them, at least, so that's nice. There's even one that leads you to the hidden question mark clouds throughout the game. That's a nice one. But yeah, most of these it is cool that you have a reason to try to collect stuff, to try to exchange, and try to get all these tools. I just wish they were more useful, though. Like, sure, it gives you more of a reason to go back and keep playing the game, but it does feel like the rewards are kind of underwhelming. I ended up just keeping most of them shut off. There were barely any where I got them. It's like, oh, I want to keep that. So, the game plays very similarly to the Yoshi's Island games. It has, like, the exact same controls, with Yoshi being able to flutter jump, ground pound, eat creatures, turn them into eggs, and throw them at other enemies or obstacles. But this game focuses less on platforming, and it focuses more on physics and puzzle solving, instead of just being a typical traditional platformer. Now, I can imagine this might be a major turnoff for many Yoshi's Island fans, but we've already had, like, 6 games that are very similar to Yoshi's Island, so it doesn't bug me that much that they tried something different for once, despite still feeling familiar. Like, compared to a game like Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. I don't mind that Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts was a vehicle builder, but what bugged me was that they couldn't use their original moves. It's like, okay, they give you the option to control Banjo-Kazooie on foot, but what's the point if they can't do any of the moves that made them fun to play as in the first place? I feel like, that could have been the ultimate game right there, where you could get in and out of vehicles. So play it the traditional way or play it the new way. And they don't let you do that. So I feel like this new Yoshi game, despite how it's mostly a puzzle platformer, I feel like it kind of would have felt empty if Yoshi didn't have all the controls and abilities he had in past games. And I feel like that really mixes well with the new gameplay they introduced. And now that's how you make a spin-off where you take a familiar character and put them in a completely different environment. Don't alienate the fans. Remind them of why they still love these games, but try to do something new with it. Like, I feel like a lot of people also would have liked Star Fox Adventures a lot better if it was less like a Zelda game and more like a Fox game. So, it's like, I don't think the idea of Fox running around with a staff, I don't think that necessarily ruins the game, but it's because there's not enough of what made a Star Fox game a Star Fox game. You don't have a lot of rail shooting levels. It's like Star Fox Assault was a slightly better idea of that. Like, the controls could have been better, but it was, I felt like it was going back in the right direction at least. And so, yeah, I'll admit, this Yoshi game, it did a good job at taking a familiar franchise, doing something new with it without alienating the audience. It still feels like a Yoshi game. That's the great thing about it. So, this game has a very unique art style, resembling storybook illustrations come to life. The characters appear to be computer animated, but rendered to look flat, along with having these moving animated paint textures, and I love the look of this game, but I'm honestly not a big fan of the choppy animation. So they tried limiting the frames to lag like a stop-motion film, but I'd rather they just kept the animation fluid, to be honest, because so many people have tried claiming that, intentionally animating characters have lower frame rate. That's an artistic choice. Well, I doubt people would be calling it an artistic choice if a car repairman left your car leaking with oil with the excuse that it was an artistic choice. So, I don't know. People whine when games lag, yet they give it a pass when designers intentionally make a game lag. I just don't get it at all. So, despite having nitpicks about the animation, it's still a nice-looking game. A part of me hopes to see them expand upon this someday, maybe make a game called Yoshi's Library, where Yoshi hops through not one magical book, but many. So, either the books could have multiple levels or just one level, and they could all fit with a different theme and art style to go with that book. So, imagine Yoshi hopping into an old fairy tale with levels inspired by, like, nursery rhymes and stuff like that, or just grim fairy tales and all that. And so, what if the art style looked like a Victorian painting style? That would be kind of cool. Yoshi could go through a book full of Chinese folk tales and have the art style resemble watercolor paintings. He could go through a book where it has like a steampunk art style, similar to like a chapter book, with chapter book illustrations, He could go through a manga where everything's black and white and there's many different panels for Yoshi to hop across and interact with. There could be a superhero comic where Yoshi gains superpowers. I mean, that would be a really fun idea. I'd love to see all the ways Nintendo could experiment. I mean, it was kind of fun to see how they did that with Princess Peach Showtime, how all the levels were inspired by some kind of play theme, and all the effects and stuff like that were inspired by effects you could actually pull off in a play. So I'd love to see them try doing something with Yoshi and storybooks. That'd be kind of a cool idea. So back to the mysterious book, most of his pages are empty, but for some reason making discoveries will create more pages, which lead to more discoveries. So each discovery we make creates a cool book illustration based on the task we just accomplished. So think of it like Xbox achievements, except you actually get a really cool illustration with every achievement you make. And you get flooded with achievements instead of them being harder to reach like actual achievements are. So we can even rearrange these illustrations across the book. So we can like if we want to keep like certain similar images all together, so it doesn't look like a scrambled mess, we can actually drag and drop them to the pages we want. That's actually kind of a cool idea. I haven't done that yet, but sometime I might go back into the game and I might organize it to make the book look a lot cleaner. I think that's a really cool idea, because I'll admit when I was first playing the game, it's like, that's kind of a shame how the illustrations feel kind of like a scrambled mess, and then when I learned, oh, you can actually customize them, it's like, oh, that's cool, I like that. So our first discovery is simply a Crazy Daisy, one of the first common enemies that we encounter in Yoshi's Island. So by first instinct, you might want to try eating or jumping on the creature, and so of course it'll record the responses of these actions. Like it'll say how, oh, eating this turns it into an egg, or oh, jumping on it causes it to get dizzy. So once you make a discovery, an illustration appears. Like I said earlier, it's kind of like an achievement, and it actually permanently stays there in the level. That's kind of a bizarre gimmick, how the level is permanently stained with that illustration depending on where you accomplish this task. So most of the tasks, they'll have it where it has to happen in a certain spot, but it's still possible to have some where it might require like taking a certain creature and having it meet up with another creature. And so it's possible to have these creatures be far away from where they usually spawn. And so depending on where you triggered this achievement, that illustration will stay at that part of the level for the rest of the game, even when you exit the level and re-enter it. That's kind of a cool detail. It's kind of like a time capsule of all the achievements you made in the game, showing you where in the game you made these achievements. I'm surprised they didn't bother adding like a date and time for it though. That kind of would have been interesting. Let you know like what time of the day you actually accomplished this. So, of course, we can make more interesting discoveries by messing around, like letting the daisy ride on our backs. We notice how, while the daisy is riding on our back and we go near, like, a field of flower buds, we notice how the daisies, they'll cause the flowers to bloom, and then feeding the daisies different fruits and plants can cause them to change colors, which will change the colors of the flowers they bloom. Setting them on the ground in a field of flowers will cause them to create flower crowns. And then if we place them near another Crazy Daisy, the Crazy Daisy will gift them with a flower crown, and they can even gift Yoshi with a flower crown if he crouches near them while they created a flower crown. And we can even ground pound on them to plant them into the ground, and then we can spray them with water to cause them to grow more flowers. So in the end, I just renamed the Crazy Daisy to Bloomer. So I love being able to rename the creatures, but it can make it harder if you're trying to look up online how to complete some of the hidden or more trickier objectives. The levels end up getting named after the creatures we discovered. So just because the creature's called Crazy Daisy, because I changed its name to Bloomer, that means the level is now called Bloomer. So I can't just go online and ask how do I complete the objectives for Bloomer, because Bloomer is only the name that appears on my copy of the game, so everywhere else it would be considered the Crazy Daisy level. And so I kind of wish they added like sub-names to these levels, like calling the Crazy Daisy level, they should have called it W1L1 for World 1 Level 1 or something like that. Otherwise, it's not a bad introductory level, I liked it. So at first you're thinking that each level might be more like the first, but the gameplay really does change things up. It has like a genre-hopping gimmick to it, similar to like Conker's Bad Fur Day, where one level you're platforming, the next level you're shooting, or it's similar to that, except, of course, this is a kid-friendly game and it's a side-scroller, but, you know, similar gimmick. Princess Peach Showtime is another example, where that's a multi-genre game. One level you're platforming, next level you're doing a beat-em-up, and next level you're doing a mystery-solving thing. So yeah, it's similar to that. So some levels are better or worse than others. So you can be doing simple platforming in one level, skateboarding the next, catching bugs with a net-like plant, using a water bottle-shaped creature like a squirt gun. There's just so many different gameplay variety. So I'm not going to go over every single creature in this game, but I'll go over some to give you an idea of what to expect. So after beating the first level, we're given the option to change which color of Yoshis we want to control. Always a pleasant addition in these Yoshi games, letting us choose our favorite color. It bugged me how Yoshi's Island didn't give us the option to play as the Yoshis of our choice. It kept having a predetermined colored Yoshi assigned to certain levels. So it was like always the first level of the world would have you play as Green Yoshi. What if you liked Green Yoshi and you want to play as him in other levels? Tough luck, he's only stuck in the first levels each time. So in this game, I ended up sticking with Blue Yoshi for the rest of the game. I was only Green Yoshi for level 1, and then I stuck with Blue Yoshi for the rest of it. So up next, we discover these frogs with bubble wands for mouths, so we can use these bubbles to wash away leaf piles, trap other creatures, and cause certain interactions to change the physics of the bubbles. So feeding the creature an apple will cause it to grow bigger bubbles, and then having it fall in mud will cause it to create these muddy bubbles, which makes everything filthy. So yeah, another decent creature, I'll call him Hoopla. So up next we have these dandelion-looking plants, where attacking them causes them to spread spores all over the place. It not only grows more spores, but it even zombifies the other creatures. So yeah, this is kind of a depressing level. Oh, I feel so bad for these creatures. They look so miserable when the spores take over their minds. So despite its morbid nature, this is still a fun level. I really enjoyed rolling over the spores with a ball of yarn, creating these big balls of fluffy spores. And then it also made spreading these spores around a lot easier. We could use them to attack these rocks and weaken them, which we could smash the rocks open with a ground pound after that. So I ended up calling these creatures Fluffers. So as mentioned earlier, each world has a boss-like creature. So in World 2, we get this giant moss-like monster. We try luring him to destroy rocks and eat different items. Each time he eats an item, it somehow ends up sticking to his belly. So if he eats Yoshi, he can fire Yoshi out to destroy these rocks, similar to the egg throwing mechanic, except a lot bigger and more impactful. So speaking of which, I was never a fan of the egg throwing mechanic from Yoshi's Island. The way it had like that roulette timing system, I always preferred it in Yoshi's Island, where we have the free aiming. We just hold the attack button and then just move the cursor around and then release the throw button once we're ready to throw the egg. I like that system a lot better. It's sad how only one other Yoshi game used that egg throwing mechanic, and I think it was Yoshi's Crafted World, where every other one used the Yoshi's Island throwing, and I never liked the Yoshi's Island throwing. So this level started off kind of slow and annoying. I was getting kind of tired of waiting for this slow creature to get in a place to try destroying certain objects. It just made things more frustrating if he misses. So over time, I realized that once the creature eats Yoshi, before spitting Yoshi out, we can actually move the monster around with the joystick. As soon as I realized that, it did make destroying things a lot easier, since I could finally move the creature into the place I wanted him to, but the creature is still really slow, so it kind of makes the level a bit of a drag, but the destruction was pretty fun. Okay, I'll call this ugly guy Pickle Dick. Oh my god, it actually accepted that name? Wow, I thought they would have blocked that off. Skipping ahead to the final level of World 7, Yoshi comes across a baby bewilder bird, and we're shocked to find out that it's a shapeshifter that allows us to open up the index page of our book with the pause button and right D-pad, and we can select any of the creatures we've discovered and cause the bird to transform into those creatures we point at. Then we can experiment with the creatures we found to solve puzzles and progress further through the level, leading to a boss fight against a giant baby Bowser, where we have to decide which creature would be best for attacking Bowser Jr. and avoiding his attacks. And that was a really fun level. I can definitely see it adding some gameplay variety, like people going back and trying to figure out if they can beat Bowser Jr. with this creature alone, or I can imagine there are a lot where, oh, they're going to be so useless, you cannot beat it with that. But yeah, it could set up a lot of fun challenges for some players, I could imagine. So I was hoping that after this level, we could take the Bewilder Bird into different levels to try unlocking more possibilities, but sadly, the bird is restricted to only this level and the true final level. So after beating Bowser Jr., you almost think that the game is over, but 3 more worlds open up after the credits, which we have to complete if we want to beat the game. So the final world takes place on the moon. We get attacked by these one-hit KO vines, and we need to use the Bewilder Bird to transform into the drill bore to dig deep into the moon. We dodge the vines until we reach the final boss, which is like this weird ghostly plant thing, and so we try to figure out which creatures the Bewilder Bird needs to turn into to dodge the attacks and attack the final boss. It was a pretty tricky challenge, but still really fun. So upon defeating him, we managed to free Bowser Jr. and Kamek back into the real world, and we learned that the final boss we faced was actually a fully grown version of the Crazy Daisy creatures that we met in level 1. Kind of a bizarre twist, I did not see that coming. So the game just simply ends with Bowser Jr. and Kamek returning home to Bowser, as Bowser and Bowser Jr. laugh at Kamek as he asks how long he's been trapped in that book. Yeah, not the best story, but at least the gameplay was fun. So overall, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book is a pretty easy game, but there's still some good challenge in there for 100% completionists. During my playthrough, I collected probably over 1,100 discoveries, and that's not even all of them. So I'm not sure if I'll ever see myself wanting to 100% complete this game, because it is a very long and tiring task. Just 100%ing one level takes up way too much time, so I'm not sure if I really want to do this for the 58 remaining levels I haven't 100% completed. It's still fun to try seeing how many you can get in one playthrough before beating the final level. And so it's a fun game, but I fear it wouldn't have much replay value compared to other Yoshi games, where a lot of those had kind of like a score mechanic, so it made you want to replay these levels to try getting a higher score. Past Yoshi games also had more linear objectives, but the Mysterious Book is more of a sandbox game, so once all the objectives are discovered, I fear there wouldn't be much left for you to do in this game. It's still a decent game, but personally, I'm just ready for Nintendo to finally make a full 3D platformer out of Yoshi, something like a Super Mario 64 equivalent to Yoshi's Island. It would have, something that has like a similar gameplay to Mario 64, but Yoshi can have third-person aiming for throwing eggs at enemies and obstacles, and along with the bizarre transformations like the helicopter, the train, the digger, the car, and more. I've wanted a 3D platformer of Yoshi for the longest time, and the closest we've ever gotten to one was Super Mario 64 DS. I mean, yeah, Yoshi was technically playable in Mario Sunshine, Galaxy 2, and Odyssey, but those were technically Mario riding or taking control of Yoshi, and Yoshi was only limited to a few small levels, not a full game, so if Kirby and DK can finally get their own 3D platformers, I think it's long overdue for Yoshi to finally get his own 3D platformer. I give Yoshi and the Mysterious Book a 7 out of 10. That's all I have to show for now. Thank you for watching, see you next time, and have a great day. Hello, SpongeGex here. So, a new Nintendo Direct is about to start for June 2026. So, I think it starts in about 10 minutes. So, right now they're just showing some recap footage of recent releases. So, yeah, Donkey Kong 64 just came to Switch Online. Of course, the new StarFox. I'm actually really looking forward to this, but I do not like the character redesigns, and I do wish they tried making a new story, because, Star Fox Assault, that's my favorite entry in the series, and I want to see that get a proper sequel someday. I'm tired of them constantly retelling Star Fox 64, but aside from the character designs, this looks gorgeous. The online multiplayer mode sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, I've been going through a lot lately. I moved into a new apartment recently, and so, I had someone ask me if I was going to review the new Yoshi game for Switch 2. I said I wanted to, but I was too busy with moving, so I didn't really have time or money to really go out and get it, but good news. So, I sold a few consoles recently. I sold 2 of my 3 Xboxes. I sold my original Nintendo Switch, and I was able to get, like, nearly $300 of in-store credit. I bought, like, 2 $100 eShop cards, and I also bought a $50 Xbox card. Yeah, just because I sold 2 Xboxes, that doesn't mean I'm out of Xboxes. I still got my Series X, and then I still got my Switch 2. So, with the Nintendo, I bought 3 Switch 2 games. I bought both Tomodachi Life, the new Yoshi game. I have not played them yet, though, because I've been pretty busy lately. But I might make a review of some of them down the line. And I pre-ordered the new StarFox, which comes out 10 days from today. And then for Xbox, I pre-ordered the remake of Rayman Legends. I think that game looks interesting, but I'm not a fan of the redesigns. Like, I think visually it looks okay. I kind of wish they left a little bit of the cartooniness in there. Otherwise, I've seen uglier remakes. But I think for the most part, the characters look fine, like Barbara, Glowbox, the Teensies, I think they look fine, but Rayman, it's like, his redesign would be good if it weren't for the eyes. I just wish they left his eyes the way they were, and admittedly, I kind of miss, like, Rayman's original hairstyle. Well, not necessarily original, but more like his Rayman 2 or Rayman 3, like, back when his hair kind of looked like spiky bunny ears. Nowadays, it just looks like he just has just regular tufts of hair. It's just kind of takes away the wackiness of the character. Otherwise, I think it looks great, though. I like how it has cutscenes, voice acting. It sounds like they even got some well-known voice actors for it. Like, I think for the King Teensy, they actually got Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob. And then a lot of people are thinking they got the voice of Patrick, Bill Fagerbakke, to voice Glowbox. And so, if that's true, that's interesting. I did a review of Bell Bell Park a few months ago, and I was really underwhelmed by it. Like, it was getting good reviews. I just thought for a $20 expansion, it was not worth it. I mean, half of the game is locked off if you're a single player. The multiplayer mode has no, online or, it has no online or single-player options, so that's really useless if you're a guy like me who lives alone and everyone you know doesn't care about playing games, so yeah. And then, it just wasn't worth being exclusive to Switch 2. There's absolutely no reason these boss fights or a playable Rosalina have to be locked behind a second console. That's ridiculous. Yeah, so far, I've just not been a fan of the Switch 2 editions. So far, all of them have been really disappointing. I'd say the Mario Party one was the most disappointing so far. And then, I didn't do a review of this, but I did get Metroid Prime 4 last Christmas, and, I didn't hate it as much as others did, but I can definitely see why people were underwhelmed by it. Personally, I didn't mind the linearity of it, because honestly, a lot of the Metroid games kind of stressed me out. Like, I got lost in a lot of them. I thought sometimes the map navigation could get a little confusing, so it still requires exploration. It still requires knowing where to go, so I wouldn't say they dumbed it down, they just simplified it, if anything. I'll tell you what did disappoint me about the game, though. It was way too short, and the ending was really anticlimactic. I hated the ending. I didn't think, like, the build-up for it was exciting, and so, like, when the credits came up, I was like, that's it? And then, of course, everyone complained about the desert segments, especially, how, like, there's no music, and the only way to have music play is if you get, the amiibo for it. So, yeah, that's ridiculous. At first, I didn't think the desert was so bad. Like, I remember, I actually drove all the way around the desert by myself, gathering crystals ahead of time, because I heard you would need them for the later part of the game. So at first, I thought, oh, this isn't so bad, but then it's like you realize, oh, you gotta do this more than once. I thought it'd be enough to where, oh, you just drive around it once, you make, like, check marks, to make it easier to find where everything is. That's not so bad. And then, of course, it really could have used a quick travel system. It was one thing that was not in the GameCube versions, or the Wii version of Metroid Prime 3, but, yeah, it really needed it for a modern-day Switch 2 game. And then, I already did a review of Kirby Air Riders. I even did a little series where I showed off all the creations that other users made, along with sharing the ones I made, and yeah, so far, this is my favorite Switch 2 exclusive. I really had a lot of fun with it. Probably put the most hours into it out of any game I've gotten in recent years. I'd say my only biggest complaint with the game is that they didn't give ease of access controls, or, it's like this game, it just requires a joystick and mostly the A button and occasionally the Y button. And that was really underwhelming. I wish they could have let you customize it to where, okay, that's what it is by default, but for those who want more complex controls, have it where they can have the brake button be the A button, and then have the attack button be the Y button, and then have the special button be the X button, or, Yeah, it's a real shame that they didn't bother giving players the option. I get it that they want it to be easy for newcomers, but for those who know that they can handle different buttons, they really should have made that an option. I was really hoping they would at least give a future update that lets you do that, and no, they did not. And then same with the spin command. Instead of wriggling the joystick left and right real quick, I wish they could have had it where you just tap the yellow button or something for Kirby or the other riders to do a spin. So, admittedly, I was not interested in getting Tomodachi Life at first, because I did have the 3DS version. I thought, like, it was cute at first, but after a while it got real boring. But what lured me into this was how good the customization was. I saw some people make really cool or funny customizations, like, people recreating characters from Chainsaw Man or, Mario and stuff like that, and I just thought, like, okay, I'm gonna try this and see what crazy stuff I can come up with, but I want to see more Nintendo games with that kind of customization, or just any game in general. Like, imagine if we had a Smash Bros. Game that has, like, the customization that is shown in, like, Kirby Air Riders or Tomodachi Life. That would be really cool. So let's see, it should be starting real soon. I have no idea what to expect from this, because usually Nintendo Direct's kind of underwhelming. There's at least like one game that gets me a little excited, but most of them are boring. But I keep watching them, hoping they'll get better someday. Hard to believe they're still making Switch 1 games.
Hello.
Is this Rhythm Heaven? Didn't they? Yeah, we already knew this one was coming.
And I'm known for my reading aloud skills and more.
I've never played any of these games. I know I think they're by the same makers as WarioWare. They're basically just WarioWare micro games, but they're all rhythm based.
Just get into the groove and press the correct button. That's all there is to it. But it's not always the same rhythm. Listen carefully to the beat.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if they made a WarioWare Rhythm Heaven, they could have called it WarioWare Groove Moves. Yeah, I don't really know if I'd be getting this, though, because there are rhythm games I like. Like, I liked the Kingdom Hearts rhythm game, Melody of Memory, and then I like Samba de Amigo. I think one reason I like those games better, though, is because it has something to let me want to get into it. You know, it's like for Kingdom Hearts. I like Kingdom Hearts. I like Disney. I like Final Fantasy. So that's the main reason I want to play the rhythm games there. But for this, it's like, I don't know what kind of music to expect, I don't know who the characters are, so I don't feel like there's really anything for me that I can't get in a game like WarioWare or any other rhythm game. Otherwise, I'm not gonna deny, though, I know that there have been people who have been begging for another one since the Wii, so at least some people will be happy. I don't know, I'm just sick of games like this. Like, there's just so many games that just look the same nowadays. How many realistic, gritty samurai games do we have to have on multiple consoles? I like it when games give us something that we haven't seen before. It's like, yeah, sure, I play nothing but Mario or Sonic games, but, you know, I complain when they keep doing the same one over and over. I like it when they make new ones where it introduces something new. And at least compared to other video games, Mario and Sonic games look more unique. They don't look like every other game you see on store shelves. Games just got really boring the more realistic they got. It's like every game looks the same nowadays.
Dragon's Dogma 2: Dark Arisen is heading to
oh great, another sword slashing game.
You are the Arisen, a hero burdened with the fate of slaying the dragon who was taken.
Another overdone genre like medieval fantasy games.
Indis has been driven to the brink of annihilation by
oh, Stellar Blade is coming to the... I have yet to play this. I might get the PC version someday, but I played the demo for it on PlayStation, and
engage in high-speed combat that focuses on timing.
I'm probably gonna suck at it though. I never really got into like the Dark Souls type of games. The only one I ever played was the Pinocchio one called Lies of P. I played that on Xbox Game Pass, and I couldn't even get past Chapter 3.
Stellar Blade launches.
But there's some cool mods for it though. Like there's one that lets you play as Tifa from Final Fantasy VII or Kasumi from Dead or Alive. So I might try out one of those someday if I ever get the game.
Across the galaxy, there are many interstellar areas to explore. Melt ice.
This one has a really unique art style. Obviously it's like a 80s anime style. 70s or 80s anime, I'm not sure, but definitely retro anime.
Brave the dangers ahead in your voyage through the stars.
Not sure if it would be one I'd like playing though, but I'll at least say it looks nice.
Work together and overcome the crisis of the cosmos. Orbitals launches exclusively on the Nintendo Switch 2 system.
Yeah, speaking of games that have like a retro art style, I still need to try out that Mouse PI game. So yeah, I already got this game. I pre-ordered it for Xbox.
Rayman Legends. When a shadowy villain starts spreading corruption, it's up to Rayman and his friends to leap, glide, and punch their way through charming and colorful worlds. Ride dragons across realms. Dive into 4 new musical stages. And enjoy more added content. Up to 4 players can go out on a limb in local co-op. You can also play a revamped version of Kung Fu using GameShare locally or online. Rayman Legends Retold launches on Nintendo Switch 2 October
I just
1st.
wonder how much content is going to return in that, because I feel like they're going to leave out a lot of the alternate skins you could get in that game, and if so, that's a shame. Like, I can already imagine they're not going to have the Mario or the Mario Rayman or the Luigi Glowbox costumes. Those are probably, unless they're exclusive to the Switch 2 version. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't be getting them if they're in the Nintendo version, because I pre-ordered the Xbox version. Because, yeah, sadly, Switch 2 has the same problem as the original Switch. It is not a good console for getting games that have multiple ports. It's like you're better off getting it for Series X or PS5. Like, if there's a game where it's for PlayStation, Xbox, and it's also on Switch 2, get anything but the Switch 2 version. There's just no excuse. Like, Nintendo had the perfect opportunity to make the Switch 2 more powerful, and they blew it once again. Otherwise, it plays exclusives just fine, and it runs a lot of the old Switch games a lot better, but I couldn't believe it couldn't even run a game like SpongeBob Titans of the Tide well. Like, that game lagged horribly. There's just no excuse. It's like, the Switch 2 can't even run a SpongeBob game. That's just depressing.
Or hang out with friends using cross-platform play.
And then I saw, like, how for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, how they had to remove a lot of visuals, so it looks a lot more empty because of how much they had to remove visually from the game to make it run better. Still, it probably runs better than the PC port I have. I got the PC port of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth not too long ago, and oh my god, it runs horribly. It's like, my PC, it runs the original Final Fantasy VII Remake just fine, and then it struggles with Rebirth. It lags terribly, and has some graphical hiccups, despite how it said my computer has the specs necessary to run it. So, yeah, it's ridiculous. I was able to get it to run slightly better, because recently I got an 8TB hard disk drive, and I reinstalled the game onto that, and it ran slightly better, but it doesn't fix all the performance issues. So, I wanted to get the Rebirth PC version because I saw some really fun mods for it, wanted to try them out, and that's one thing I hate. I really wish there was a way to have mods play on game consoles, otherwise I would have got it for PS5.
Over 400 characters from the One
and then, darn it, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth just got an update recently, and it makes a lot of the mods unusable unless you downgrade the game. So I had to do that yesterday because I had there are these mods called Dress Code where you can swap the characters' outfits in game. There's a lot of fun outfit mods you can get for that. And so yeah, I had to roll back the game because the game kept crashing every time I played it with those mods installed. And then there are people complaining about how Rebirth, it has a new update that allows you to simplify the game. You know, it has kind of like the easy cheats from Kingdom Hearts 3. And I hate how people are whining about it. It's like, for crying out loud, it's an optional feature. You don't have to use it. Like, let people have fun. You know, I don't see what's wrong with playing the game normally, you beat it fair and square, and then you just want to go back and mess with these tools that make you overpowered. I don't see what's wrong with that. And honestly, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, as one who played it fair and square, it was a real boring grind sometimes, especially if you're wanting to 100% it. There were a lot of sections I wish I could have skipped, and so I don't mind having features that give you the option to make the game go by quicker.
DLC is
Man,
on
isn't
the way.
Pokopia expensive
Discover a
enough?
brand
Like,
new
overpriced?
talent.
Do they really have to charge us
Racing.
extra for features that
There
should have
you'll
been
find
included
new
to begin with?
furniture.
Yeah, I
New
do not have this game. I just
and
didn't
new
really see the
friends.
point. I mean, I like Pokemon, but at the same time, I got so many games that are already
Pokemon
similar to
Pokopia
this. I got, you know,
Expansion
Animal
Pass
Crossing,
DLC will be available
Viva
later
Pinata.
today on
I just,
Nintendo
this is
eShop.
basically just that mixed with
Part one of the
Minecraft.
paid DLC,
Not the biggest fan of
Glowing
Minecraft, to
Basin,
be honest, so,
launches this
I don't
August.
know, just...
Part 2 and Part 3 will
I
launch
heard
at
it
a
did
later
well, though.
date.
Some people are even
Look
saying
out
it's
for
the
more
highest rated
details in
Pokemon
the
game,
future.
but it just doesn't look really for me. I mean, yeah, I know, I just got Tomodachi Live, that's basically kind of like this, but less interactive, I guess. It gives you less control over it, but at least that one, you know, as a guy like me who likes to do art occasionally, it's like at least there's stuff you can create in that game.
We hope you're looking forward to more content for Pokemon Pokopia via a free update and paid
Oh,
DLC.
So which part of it was the free
Next,
update
please
then,
take
and
a
which
look
was
at
the
this.
paid DLC?
To the heroic games.
That was just the new Fire
The
Emblem.
winner of
Is
7
it just me, or do the heroes of each new
Guide
Fire
whichever
Emblem game keep getting less
character you
appealing
choose
with
to
each
victory
new entry?
as they weave their own
It's like they just keep
unique
feeling like a
tale.
downgrade from like the heroes we used to have, like
Between
Marth,
matches, you
Ike,
can strengthen your forces
Lynn,
in different ways.
Roy. I just don't find the new heroes as interesting.
Hone your techniques at the training grounds.
Like, maybe Chrom and Lucina were probably the last interesting ones to
Recruit
me.
new allies.
And then the one from, what was the last Fire Emblem game?
Beyond Daxian's walls to gain experience.
Like the one where, I can't remember the name of it, but it was the one where you teamed up with all the fallen heroes from past Fire Emblem games. I thought like the main hero, like everyone hated her design in that, like they didn't like how she had red and blue hair. I didn't think it looked that bad, but
and your unit's strengths on the battlefield.
otherwise, I'd say like with Corrin, Byleth, the ones from the Fates
Plus,
games, I
each
just
of the
didn't
four
think they
main
were that
characters
interesting.
comes with their own special techniques. By using these techniques to the fullest, you might turn the tide of battle.
Yeah, I probably won't be getting this, because if I really want to play more Fire Emblem, I'd just play the one I already have on Switch, or I'd go back and play some of the older ones, like the ones that you can find on Nintendo Switch Online.
Who will route you here?
I just beat the GameCube one recently, the one that Ike was introduced in it. Man, that one is really hard. I had to redo so many missions, especially later on in the game. It's just so many one-hit kill moments. It's really hard to predict like the enemies' movements because so many enemies just spawn out of nowhere, and that was tough.
Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave launches September 17th.
Then a little off topic, but I noticed Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is getting a Season 2 or Wave 2 DLC. They finally announced like the last remaining characters for Wave 1, and they showed how it will be Ninja Turtles and Avatar. And then for Wave 2, not a whole lot has been revealed yet. We just know that we're getting 2 new race tracks, one based on Godzilla and the other based on Neon Genesis Evangelion. I've never seen that show, but I heard it's a classic anime, but might have to watch it on Netflix sometime.
In search of clues to get back home. You can also blow a bubble to float in the air.
Yeah, like, I originally wanted to do a video about Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I was gonna do a video originally where I showed off, like, all the race tracks and then, gave my overall thoughts on the game, but I just never bothered doing it.
Additionally,
Just got a little too caught up with other things, and I felt like, it doesn't make much sense to review it now, because there's so much DLC coming for it. It'd probably make more sense to wait until all the DLC is released. I didn't think we were going to get a Wave 2, honestly, because Sega was talking like how the game was underperforming, so I thought they were going to give up after it.
Barrels in. Coming to Nintendo Switch Online on Nintendo Switch 2, the limited time DK Challenge event. Take on challenges.
I do not give a crap about limited time events. Things like these suck. I'd rather just give players the option to have as much time as they need to get things done. I don't like them telling you, oh, you gotta do it within 3 days or a month or it's gone forever. Who gives a crap? Really? That's all you...
Try out ones geared for beginners. Or take on developer challenges for something with a bit more punch.
This just looks dumb.
Rediscover Donkey Kong games, play challenges, and complete your...
I had like the NES Classics remix thing for like Nintendo Wii U, and I just did not care for it.
You'll be able to barrel through these
It's like I'd rather just play the full games than play these little bit challenges.
Plus, in the Donkey Kong Bonanza, DK Island and Emerald Rush paid
I did not
DLC,
care for...
A limited time collaboration with Super Mario Brothers is breaking through. Enjoy
What the?
outfits for DK and Pauline, inspired by Mario and Luigi.
I just hated how limited time these events are. Like, how, oh, if you want to get those trophies, you gotta get them during these limited time events. It's really stupid. And then, not to mention how you have to do it all in one run. They don't let you just build up the stuff you collect to unlock it. You gotta get it all within one high score. That's really stupid.
4 waves with the first wave beginning later today.
Lame. What it with these stupid limited time events?
From the creators of Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, so far, none of these announcements have excited me, as usual. You know, I don't go into these wanting to be disappointed. A lot of people might think I'm coming in to watch this so I can hate on everything. No, I'm wanting to get excited. Keep seeing the same crap we keep getting over and over. I want to see what's new. I want to see, like, a series I haven't seen a new entry in for a long time, get a new entry, or never get any good games that remind me of why I grew up to love games to begin with. Probably doesn't help that a lot of Rareware has gone downhill over the years. Yeah, Rareware was my childhood. I tried watching that anime, I got bored with it. Like, I watched, like, the first 3 episodes, it just wasn't for me. This game sucked. I don't care what anyone says. I hated this game.
You must fight rampaging mechanical puppets and seek the cause of this upheaval while confronting your own humanity. Take on enemies using customizable weapons and...
I'm trying to think like what level it was I couldn't get past. It was some like sewage factory level or something. It was like chapter 3, I think. But yeah, I just did not find this appealing. Like, I thought it sounded cool at first, like, oh, a dark version of Pinocchio, that's interesting, but nothing about it gave me Pinocchio vibes, really. It's like, yeah, you got a few nods to it, like, you got like a little cricket, you got, like, something that kind of resembles the blue-haired girl, and then, or the blue fairy, whatever you want to call her. One of the boss fights had a guy wearing a donkey mask. It's like, yeah, there's a few nods of Pinocchio, but it just didn't give me really vibes of, like, oh, this is like a dark, mature version of Pinocchio. It just felt like another clone of Dark Souls. I've never really played a Devil May Cry game, but I've played Bayonetta, which is basically a spiritual successor to the original Devil May Cry. I played all 3 of the Bayonetta games. Technically, there's 4 now, but out of the mainline games, there's 3. Wasn't this a game for the original Wii? Like, I can't remember, but I feel like I've seen some of these characters before, like back in an old Nintendo Power magazine. Is this like a sequel to a certain game?
Nintendo Switch 2 editions of these 3 Xenoblade Chronicles games are incoming.
You've gotta be kidding me.
All 3 games run at 60
I am so sick of Switch 2 editions.
4K resolution
And that, not to mention, they're selling these separately. That is bull crap. As if these games aren't expensive enough to get separately. Now you gotta buy them for a more expensive price. Like probably $20 more than they were before.
But you can travel on a high-speed vehicle in the first game. Control blades to fight mercenary squad battles in the second.
I feel dumb. I used to have Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I should have kept that. I sold it because I needed, there's a game I was wanting to get, and I decided to try selling games I didn't think I'd go back to, and for some reason I chose to sell Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I really should have kept that. I was hoping, like, oh, maybe someday it'll go on sale for like $20 or $30 and I can get it again. Never happened.
Definitive Edition, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, and the Upgrade Pack will be available later today. The physical version launches.
And then
on
I don't
July
think
30th.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 looks real interesting.
Nintendo Switch 2 editions.
I got Xenoblade Chronicles
2 and
X
Xenoblade
Switch
Chronicles 3
edition,
will be
but
available on the dates shown on screen.
because I have the original for Wii U, but I never beat it all the way through, so I figured honestly, I think I should have just stuck with the Wii U version though, because I didn't really care too much for the exclusive content that was added to the Switch edition. To me, it just felt like I was playing through most of what I already played through.
Here are some early moments from the game.
Still a good game though, like especially for those who've never played the original Xenoblade Chronicles X, but if you already have the Wii U version, you really don't have much of a reason to get the Switch version. Is this a fourth Xenoblade game? Or... Honestly, I can't tell. Like, the overworld scenes look like they could be Xenoblade, but if this is a Xenoblade game, all I can say is, man, the graphics have gone downhill. If this is a Xenoblade game, it would be the first where you get it right on Beast. Otherwise, it's basically no different than what Xenoblade Chronicles X offered, where you could ride in robots, ones that could drive and fly, but... Like, the only thing that gives me Xenoblade vibes are the environments. Like, these landscapes definitely have a Xenoblade vibe to it, but I just can't tell. Yep, I knew it. So is this supposed to be a prequel then? If it's called Genesis, is this technically supposed to be the very first one then?
Xenoblade Genesis marks a new beginning. What kind of story do you think will be told?
Probably one we've already heard. I mean, honestly, the Xenoblade Chronicles aren't very original with their stories. They just feel like every other JRPG you've seen.
Welcome to Woohoo Island.
Ah, boy.
Home to all
I never
kinds
really
of
cared for
sports.
Pilot
Coming
Wings.
to Nintendo
I
Switch
tried the
2,
original.
Nintendo
Oh.
Switch Sports Resort, the latest game in the series. Use the Joy-Con.
I probably wouldn't like this because I honestly hated the Switch version of Wii Sports, or Switch Sports.
Even handles.
I just thought the motion controls were so unresponsive compared to the Wii motion controls.
There are 12 sports to choose from, all with intuitive motion controls. Let's
Or are they
go
gonna
over
bring
them.
back the frisbee with the dog?
Punch, guard, counter, and outmaneuver for the knockout in
Another reason I did not like Switch Sports is because all the unlockables were online exclusive. You had to keep grinding online, and there were so many times where you're getting into a game and then the internet disconnects and you lose all that progress, so you gotta keep like playing multiple hours a day just to get the stuff you want, and then it's like right when you get done unlocking everything, a new event starts and you gotta start the grind all over. I just gave up. It's like, screw it, I'm done with this. And I don't get this. What's the point in including games that are already available in the first one? They should focus on just giving us new things. It just makes you feel like you got ripped off for buying the first one. So yeah, I'm not getting this. I felt ripped off by the first one. I feel like this would be another ripoff. Thumb wrestling, really? Ugh, that looks so stupid. Okay, that's different.
In skateboarding. Steer with handles and coast along.
I'm surprised they still never made like a Mario skateboarding game. I feel like the closest you have to it is the skateboarding minigame from the last Mario Sonic Olympic game, but didn't really feel like a full skateboarding experience.
Plus, you can warm up for these sports with jump rope. You can create and play as a sportsmate or me character.
Oh, thanks.
Enjoy playing all kinds of sports on Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo Switch Sports Resort launches exclusively on the Nintendo Switch 2 system October 22nd. Pre-orders begin later today on Nintendo eShop.
Is there a single game in this presentation that actually excites me?
To Nintendo Switch 2. We showed all the sports included, but since we have the opportunity, let's try one of the new sports.
Please, no, just move on.
Before the match, let's go over.
Really? This is the one you're gonna show off? Stupid thumb wrestling? Something you can easily do in real life? Ugh.
If yours gets pinned, just shake the controller to break.
Do people even thumb wrestle anymore?
And if you keep your thumb held down, it'll get bigger and stronger.
You might want to get that thumb looked at then.
3, 2, 1. You'll need this to claim victory.
Jesus.
Here's to a great thumb
I think that guy's been watching too much porn, if you know what I mean. Just move on. I haven't seen a Nintendo presentation this embarrassing since they presented Wii Music.
It's okay. Everything's fine.
This is probably less embarrassing, though, because at least it's not a live event where you see actual people humiliating themselves on a stage. I feel like if this was the day and age of E3, where they still had live stage shows for presenting these things, I feel like, yeah, people would be making fun of this segment. Like, Nintendo wasted everyone's time showing thumb wrestling live on stage. Ugh, another medieval game with swords and dragons. God, how many are they going to show in one presentation? So basically Mario Party, but with Hello Kitty and friends.
And so much more. Hello Kitty Party Land launches exclusively on Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch.
I was about to say, if that's a Switch 2 exclusive, that's sad.
Let's get down there and finish the job.
Blast off for adventure across the
I feel like this will
Wildlands
make going back to the original Star Fox 64 really hard too, because of how much better the frame rate and visuals are.
Where the fate of the galaxy begins. StarFox launches on Nintendo Switch 2, June 25th. A free demo that includes a tutorial and one of the game's opening stages will be available later today on Nintendo
Nah, what's the
eShop.
point? I already bought the game, so I'll just wait for the full version to come out. Like, I get why they showed footage for the new Star Fox game, because it's coming out real soon, but I just hate it in directs when they show footage of games you already know are coming out. I want to see what's new, what hasn't been announced yet, and they could have easily just showed that in a separate video on their YouTube channel. This feels like it's wasting up time they could have spent showing off something new.
A vast world that is prosperous.
And then, you know what irks me? Like how people whine at Square Enix that they don't make traditional Final Fantasy games anymore. It's like, what are you talking about? They make them all the time. It's just that the mainline games aren't the traditional ones anymore. But they act like there's no turn-based RPGs anymore.
In thrilling turn-based battles, call upon visions, iconic Final Fantasy heroes from other worlds to take down monsters.
Aside from Dissidia, have they even done like a Final Fantasy crossover like this before? Like, there's World of Final Fantasy, but like out of traditional Final Fantasy like games, this might be different. I still think they need to make a Queen's Blood spin-off game, one that includes cards based on characters from other Final Fantasy games. Give it an online multiplayer mode, a single-player mode, and then even a randomizer mode where it randomizes your deck along with your opponents. So it makes you have to work with you know, a predetermined deck to try to decide, see if you can make it or not. That'd be kind of a fun idea. Maybe include some DLC, like a Kingdom Hearts pack where you get cards of characters from Kingdom Hearts. That would be really cool. But yeah, I love the Queen's Blood minigame in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so I want to see a full game of that. Apparently there's an online fan game of it, but it's not worth it because no one's playing it and it's online only. And there's no sense of accomplishment or unlocking because they give you like all the cards to begin with, but a lot of them are locked off as well. So yeah, it's like, if only the base game of Rebirth, it actually included like a separate mode dedicated to Queen's Blood instead of just being separate minigames scattered across the overworld of the game. I'd rather they just make like a dedicated game or mode to it.
Launching on Nintendo Switch 2 next year.
Prepare for an all-new
I never really got into this series.
monster-filled adventure.
Like the only games I ever played to have like Dragon Quest featured were So I played some of the Mario Sport games that were by Square Enix, like Mario Sport Mix. Slime was a playable character in that, and then I played Fortune Street on Wii. That was a crossover of Mario and Dragon Quest. I like that too, but otherwise I just never really got into this. But probably helps that I'm not a fan of Dragon Ball, and the art style heavily resembles the Dragon Ball art style. I think a lot of the characters were even designed by one of the artists from Dragon Ball, so... But, I don't know. Again, it's like, I played so many JRPGs over the years, so it's like, why should I play this when there's so many other games that are kind of like it? It's like, if I really want to play a JRPG with creatures you collect or befriend, I'd rather just play Pokemon then. But, you know, games are just too expensive nowadays. You gotta think wisely about what your next game you're gonna buy is going to be, and when you keep seeing all these $60 to $80 games coming out yearly, and they're all of genres you already have, you gotta make some wise decisions on what games to and not to get, so...
About time you got here.
Otherwise, I know it's a really popular series, but just never got into it.
Hey everyone, here's some fresh news about Splatoon Raiders, a new single-player
Yeah,
focused adventure.
I'm honestly exhausted by Splatoon. I got the first two games. Honestly, what really tired me out of them was how they require too much online. Like, yeah, there are single-player modes, but there's so much content you're missing out on unless you play online, and I just thought it got repetitive. I was also tired of how bad the internet quality got, constantly waiting around in lobbies for things to disconnect, and screw it. It's like, they should give you the option to unlock or purchase these weapons by playing the other modes, and
looks like the treasure they're after is at the base of those
I don't know. It's a cool concept, but it's ruined by its online strict requirements.
And when you get too close, they'll attack immediately. The Salmonids aren't pushovers either, so you should.
And then it was cool how Splatoon 2 included the Salmon Raid mode, but what ruined it was how it was only a limited time thing. Like, it's only available certain times of the day, and that's stupid. A feature like that should be available anytime players want to play it.
Launches you in the air for extra height, and even gets out of the bot to unleash special moves like this.
I don't know, maybe this one is more of what I'm looking for because it looks more single-player focused based on the footage they're showing.
There's
but
one that continuously fires ink after it's placed. Another that slices through enemies. Another that spins ink around you, and more. And the best part, you can use them together. It'd be nice if that made things easier, though. So to recap. Do not underestimate the Salmonids. Yikes, this is tougher than it looks. But the Salmonids aren't the only powerful ones around here. Through battles, you, the mechanic, will also get stronger by leveling up. And you can customize all sorts of upgrades to fit your playstyle. Oh, looks like time's up. There are even more details to cover in the upcoming Splatoon Raiders Direct, airing on June 30th.
I don't know, I might look more into that one, because, you know, I was complaining how the other ones were too online-centric. That one showed nothing but single-player, so maybe that's one I would like more.
With this game, there's going to be a special Splatfest in Splatoon 3. The theme looks like it's about Splatoon Raiders. Details will be announced here. Look out for more info in the future.
Oh great, Switch 2 edition of Minecraft. Oh great, now it'll finally run like it should, because the Switch one runs it terribly. I don't know, I just think Minecraft is the most overrated game ever. And then, of course, they don't give you the option to upgrade it for those who already have the Switch edition. Typical. Man, I'm convinced this might be the first Nintendo Direct where they didn't show a single game that excited me. I mean, I'll admit, Splatoon Raiders looks a little more interesting than what I was thinking, because I was thinking that was just going to be basically Splatoon 4, but now it looks more like the kind of game I was wanting from Splatoon, given, you know, single players. It does make them feel left out if they don't want to play online, so. Because I honestly didn't care for the single player modes of the other ones. They just felt like side features where usually it should be where the single player is the main objective and the online multiplayer is a side feature. That and multiplayer shouldn't be online exclusive. It should have like a CPU versions of it or a couch co-op, and it was all online required, and that kind of ruined the game for me. Because I love the concept of Splatoon. The gameplay was fun, the setting was fun, but being online exclusive really ruined the game for me. And the single player mode was way too short. It didn't have all the variety of weapons and unlockables you could get from playing online. So yeah, it really ruined the game for me. And it's bad enough they did it once. They did it 3 times with its, 2 sequels. And so, yeah, Raiders looks more like the kind of game I was wanting Splatoon to be in the first place.
The battle of light.
Are they
and
finally
darkness
making a
approaches.
proper Switch 2 port of Kingdom Hearts series? But then watch, they're gonna force you to buy them bit by bit.
3 collections of
You've gotta
Hearts
be
games are
kidding me.
coming to Nintendo
Just
Switch
release it
2.
all in one
Traverse
package.
through iconic Disney and Pixar worlds.
And then what? Are they all gonna be
Befriend
$60 a
all
piece?
sorts of magical allies. And battle enemies in action RPG combat. Relive these stories or experience
Like, if this
them
was
for the
just a
first
$30
time
collection,
alongside
I would get it.
Sora
But
and his
I've bought
friends
these games
as they
so many
fight the
times, I'm
darkness.
not even gonna
If you
bother.
have the cloud versions on Nintendo Switch, you can transfer your existing save data to these Nintendo
You know, I've already
Switch
had the
2
PS2
games.
versions, the original
These
handheld
3
versions.
collections launch on Nintendo
I've had
Switch
the
2
PS3
October
versions, the PS4 versions. I even bought the PC version so I could play it with
Kingdom
mods.
Hearts Collection 1 through
But
3. Also
if
launches
this was just
October
one
8th.
collection, like, there's no
Additionally,
excuse.
a free
These
demo
games
of
have been
Kingdom
out
Hearts
forever,
3 plus
and they're
Rewind
still,
will
like,
be available
overpriced
later
on
today
Steam
on
and
Nintendo
Epic
eShop.
Store, and it's like, you could get these games for, like, I remember you could get these games for, like, $20 on PS3. Are they finally showing footage of Kingdom Hearts 4? Holy shit, they are. Everyone was expecting them to show this during the PlayStation showcase. Can they just show, like, the more Disney-related stuff? Like, there we go. Ah, what a tease. Like, this barely resembles Kingdom Hearts. Like, I don't know why they have to make this futuristic city be the main setting of the game. It's kind of boring. That was really underwhelming, to be honest. It really didn't show us much more of what we already saw in previous trailers. It just showed a little more footage, but it didn't really show anything new. It didn't show, like, any new Disney characters, many returning characters. We saw,
Please take a look.
what was his name? Luxord, but we didn't really see anything else. We didn't see, aside from Donald and Goofy, we didn't see any of the other Disney characters. We didn't see Kyrie or Aqua or...
Called Hyrule,
That was really underwhelming.
created by beings of supreme
Another Zelda game?
divinity. At the very edge of this kingdom, there lay a small forest. Within it, an ancient solitary tree quietly watched over the inhabitants of
So is this going to be a new main game or just another spin-off? Oh, watch. It's probably DLC for the new Warriors game or something. I hope not.
Each had a fairy companion, and they lived out their innocent lives in the
Or is this a... Oh, there were rumors of a remake of Ocarina of Time. Is that what this is?
There was one particular boy who did not have
Holy
a
shit. They're remaking Ocarina of Time again. Oh, thank goodness they're not using, like, the Link's Awakening remake art style. I mean, I'm even glad they're not using the Breath of the Wild art style. I kind of wanted to see them make another detail. I'm not saying, like, it needs to be ultra realistic, but, like, a good mixture of detailed and fantasy. Not, like, cel-shaded or... Man, what is it? Like, both StarFox and Zelda get a remake. Like, isn't it weird how they were, like, they came out around like the launch year of 3DS, and they're both getting remakes around the same time
Zelda, Ocarina
for
of Time
Switch
will
2.
be reborn on Nintendo Switch 2.
Didn't show much, but I do like the new art style, and it's implied it'll have voice acting, at least for some of the characters.
That's all for today's Nintendo Direct.
That's it.
Over to you, team.
Let's see, I need to look back at that Kingdom Hearts clip, see if I wasn't paying attention to if it had a release date. Let me see. Probably not, but... Available at launch on Nintendo Switch 2.
How was that?
That doesn't make sense.
Next is our
That
last
that just says okay, it will be available on Switch 2 when it's ready, but when's it coming out? That was lame. Doesn't even give you an approximate year. It doesn't say if it's coming out this year, next year, or to be dated. Like, it just leaves you hanging like that. That's lame. But, okay, so... yeah, this was another disappointing Direct, sadly. A few interesting announcements, but they didn't show enough to really get me too excited. I mean, I almost got excited when I could tell they were finally showing Kingdom Hearts 4, but it's not of anything we haven't already seen, because, you know, we've only had one trailer of the game so far, and all it did was show a more realistic-looking Sora running through, like, this big city fighting a giant Black Heartless. And that's mostly all that we got to see. We just saw another glimpse of Donald and Goofy, who were also already in the previous trailer. They were looking for Hades, it looked like, in that trailer, and we got even less of that here. So, it doesn't give us an idea of what the story's going to be about. It didn't tease us of what new Disney worlds we're going to see, and it doesn't even resemble a Kingdom Hearts game anymore. It just looks like every other realistic sword-slashing game. So, I don't know, like... I want to be excited for it, but what they're showing, it doesn't really get me too excited for it. Like, it doesn't really feel like it's really continuing where Kingdom Hearts 3 left off, which had a really abrupt ending, and kind of gave you a little bit of hope of what to expect next with Melody of Memories epilogue, but yeah, I don't know. I want to be excited for Kingdom Hearts 4, but right now they're not showing anything to get me too excited. It's just tease after tease. Just show us already. Quit teasing us and show us. And then, yeah, we're getting an Ocarina of Time remake. Cool, but we didn't really see much. We just saw a glimpse of the opening cutscene. That was it. And so, it's not like the StarFox remake where they had plenty of footage to show. They showed so many different levels, cutscenes, gameplay features, the multiplayer mode. So, this Direct just was nothing but tease after tease. It barely gave us anything to really get excited over. And once again, more of games that we already keep getting year after year, console after console. So, yeah, it's sad how the only thing that really got me interested was a little bit of Splatoon Raiders. I almost got interested in Kingdom Hearts 4, but that was underwhelming. And then the new Zelda remake. Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, once again, I was really underwhelmed. But darn it, I keep doing this every year. I keep watching it because I want to see them make a return. I want to see Nintendo make a comeback. And... yeah, like, so far, it almost... I'm not saying it will be a ripoff, but right now it almost feels like a ripoff for buying a Switch 2. I mean, there are some good games on there. Kirby Air Riders, Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza. Hopefully the new StarFox game is good. I heard the new Yoshi game is pretty good, but aside from just being a better way of playing old Switch games, there's not a whole lot of good exclusives. I mean, yeah... I know, like, there are a lot of people who say, like, oh, what are you kidding? They've been releasing a new Switch 2 game, you know, per month. There's, like, a new... but, yeah, they don't appeal to everyone, necessarily. Just because it's getting games doesn't mean they appeal to everyone. And I just feel like Switch 2 isn't getting enough exclusives where, oh, you have to get the Switch 2 for this experience. I feel like a lot of the games they are selling are ones that you can find similar games elsewhere. I mean, yeah, you could say, oh, you got Mario Kart World, but you could get Mario Kart not only on previous Nintendo consoles, but there's so many clones of Mario Kart on different hardware. I mean, you got Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Some even argue that's better than Mario Kart. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping Switch 2 eventually gets those exclusives that really get me excited. Because, you know, yeah, I like Mario Tennis Fever, but again, it's another Mario Tennis game. I will admit it's one of the best Mario Tennis games, just a little under Mario Power Tennis maybe, but may not have had the best single player mode, but when it comes to just playing tennis and the new gimmicks added to it, it is one of the most fun ways to play Mario Tennis. But yeah, I'm just really wanting to see like a game that really excites me. Like, I know, like, for sure, a game that would really get me hooked on Switch 2 would be another Smash Brothers. It's never gonna happen, but, you know, if they ever announce, like, a Banjo-Kazooie 4, a Conker's Bad Fur Day 2, a Cameo 2, a Viva Pinata 3, like, I don't even see that ever even happening on Xbox, sadly. But yeah, anything Rare-related based on, like, their classic platformers or, Viva Pinata or something, like, yeah, I would get really excited for that, but I just don't see it happening, sadly. I almost wanted to be excited for Kingdom Hearts coming out on Switch 2, because, yeah, playing it portable sounds like a lot of fun, but not if they're forcing you to buy all 3 collections again. I want them to just release the full package. I mean, they did that for both PS3 and, you know, they had, like, all the PS2 ones merged into one game under one collection. And you could get that eventually down the line for like 20 or 30 bucks. Like, yeah, it didn't come out that cheap at first, but at least it dropped down to that price over time. And we've had like so many collections for the PS4 version. We even have a complete series package for it, and a lot of them still equal up to nearly 60 bucks. It's like you can get the separate ones for $40 a piece, and that really adds up if you just want the full package. It's one thing for them to be expensive when they first come out, but these games have been re-released so many times. I miss the days when games actually got cheaper the longer they've been on shelves. I hate it when games raise in price. It's just, I hate how greedy and stingy the world has gotten. You know, it's like, that's one reason I got Rayman Legends, the remake. Rayman Legends Retold. The main reason I got that is because not only was the game for $40, but the deluxe edition was only $10 more, 50 bucks. So not only do you get a remake of a game that's been out for years, but you also get an enhanced port of Rayman Origins. We still haven't been shown footage of what it'll look or play like, but that's still a good deal, though. It does make me fear, though, that because they're including Rayman Origins as a bonus, it makes me fear that they're not going to bother remaking the stages that were carried over from Origins into Rayman Legends. I have a feeling they're not going to remake those with the Legends engine or whatever, but and then I fear they're also going to cut out a lot of the alternate costumes for the characters. I just don't see them bothering to program all of them into the game, but if they do, that's really cool. But either way, that sounds like a cool idea, because it's like, okay, it's a remake, so you would expect it to be 60 to 80 bucks like most remakes are nowadays. I mean, no, it's like $40 by default, but $50 if you want some of the extra content. And, you know, I've seen worse. I've seen digital deluxe editions where they want you to pay $20 or more for the exclusive content. So just $10 extra for what's already a $40 game. That's not too bad. Because I remember the new SpongeBob game, that came out for, I think, $40, but then the DLC expansion, that was $20 extra, and it was not worth it. The DLC in that game was terrible. A lot of it should have been included in the base game. Like, they should have just sold the game for $50, included all of that content, not make you wait for it bit by bit, and then have it be so underwhelming. I didn't think the new levels were great. I didn't think the exclusive costumes were worth that extra money, and yeah, there's a lot of really stingy practices. Even Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, it has some cool DLC, but I just hate the season pass format. Like, I'd rather you just, even if it takes longer for the game to come out, I'd rather just pay for a game once and wait for it to come out as a complete package. I hate having to pay bit by bit for content that should have been included in the game to begin with. And, maybe Wave DLC wouldn't be so bad if it's actually released all at once, instead of having it where, oh, you get one new character a month. Because then it makes it feel worn out when it's like, okay, you play as that character, and then it's like, okay, I'm done with the game for now, and then you'll come back a month later for the same thing to repeat. I felt the same way about Smash Brothers. I felt like it would have been more exciting if all those DLC characters came out on day one. Well, not necessarily day one, but they all came out on the same day when they were ready. I don't like releasing it bit by bit. I want them to release it in a bunch, so that way you can try them all out at once. Make the game feel like it's going on longer, instead of just trying out one character at a time and then feeling like, okay, I'm done. So I just feel like the way that DLC is handled, they need to experiment. They need to try, instead of rushing everything out, they need to wait for a full season a full package of DLC to be complete and then release it. And I feel like DLC would get better feedback if people felt like they were getting it all at once. And then it doesn't help that a lot of DLC is overpriced nowadays, because there was no reason why a game that costs like $60 that comes with like, let's say 30 characters, and then you get a DLC where it just comes with one new character. There is no reason why one new character should cost $10 in a game that already has 30 characters and more content for a price of like $60. You see how unfair that is? DLC, like, an extra character should at least cost maybe $1. 50 cents or $1, I don't know. But charging a full $10 or more for just a single character, that is a ripoff. I'm surprised a lot of this was never made illegal, because it really should be. It's a real ripoff. People deserve better. So yeah, again, a really disappointing Nintendo Direct. I'm sorry. I know it's not fun to hear me whine and complain about a lot of this stuff, but I wish I had stuff to not whine about. I want to be excited for the stuff they announce, but I just feel like a lot of companies are really out of touch with what gamers and consumers want nowadays. Well, I'll try out that new Yoshi game sometime after I get a few things settled in here. Got a lot to do for the moment, but once I get around to that new Yoshi game, maybe I'll do a quick review of it, and maybe I'll do one for the new StarFox game as well. I don't know, but I got a lot of games on my catalog. There's a lot of games I got during a Steam sale. So, games I might try out eventually. Maybe I'll make videos of them, I don't know. But some games I got on my list include the Disney Infinity games, and then, what's it called? Let me see. There's a certain game on Steam I got recently, because I saw like a little anime of it recently, and I thought it was really messed up but really funny. And I learned it was based on like these simulation games, story simulator games, and I can't remember the name of it, but let me see. I'll know it once it pops up on my Steam list. It was Class of something. I want to say Class of 09, maybe? Yeah, Class of 09. So I saw the anime of that. I just saw clips of it on TikTok. I thought it looked so stupid but funny, and so I found the pilot of it on YouTube, and I thought it was funny. When I found out it was based on, like, kind of almost like a dating simulator, but it's not, because it's where, unlike other dating simulators where the choices help you get together with a girl, this is one where all your choices make things worse, and it's just a really raunchy comedy game starring, these two anime girls going to high school, and I thought it was hilarious, so I don't know, maybe I'll do a playthrough of those for laughs, I'm not sure, but let's see, any other games I got that I might have to try out. So I got the 3 Disney Infinity games. Disneyland Adventures. I used to have that on the Kinect, and I thought it was a cute game. It was clearly made for kids, but I thought the Kinect was really unresponsive, and so I heard they actually have a Steam port of it where they got rid of the motion controls and added traditional Xbox controls. So maybe I'll try that someday. Just mostly kind of poke fun at it, but also point out how well they redesigned the Disney Castle, bringing that to real life, or in a video game form, I should say. I got Kill La Kill If. I did like the anime of that, and so I remember I played the demo for it back on Nintendo Switch, but never bothered getting the full game until now. As far as I know, the game got mixed reviews. Like, there's things to like about it for fans, but I know there's better hack and slash games out there. But I thought I'd try it out while it was on sale, and so, I don't know. I might try those games sometime, but, otherwise, for right now, I got a lot of games to play. Like, lately, I've been playing, I already said how I was playing through, Final Fantasy Rebirth. I even rebought the original Final Fantasy Remake, for Steam to try out some mods on that, and then, I might have to play the original Final Fantasy VII sometime, and then on the Nintendo Switch 2, I've been revisiting Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Man, that game was good. So, anyways, that's all I have to show for now. Thank you for watching. See you next time, and have a great day. Hello, SpongeGex here. So, I just got the game Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream. I'm a bit late to this, because, this came out, nearly 2 months ago, and, but I finally got around to it, a few weeks back, and, it was really funny, and so I decided to make a video where I upload some clips from it. just showing like some of the really funny scenes that happened. And so I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but despite how this game's rated E for everyone, it has uncensored text boxes, unlike most video games where if you try typing in a naughty name, it will prevent you from doing that. This game's completely unrestricted. It will not censor anything you type in. And so you can go crazy with this. And so I did, I just got carried away. I typed in some really inappropriate stuff just to see if the characters would actually say it, and I couldn't believe that a lot of the results actually happened. And so, I hope you don't take this the wrong way. I don't want you to, like, see me as, like, a real nasty or inappropriate person. It's just me, being stupid and silly, just trying to get a laugh. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. It was really messed up, really stupid. I'd say my only complaint with this game is, I will admit, I actually like this more than the DS one, because I thought the DS one got really boring really fast, and sadly, the same could be said for this one. There's really not much to do. Like, I'd say compared to Animal Crossing, because, it's kind of a similar game in a way, I'd say Animal Crossing is the better game, because there's more to actually do in that game, but when it comes to, the creativity and the entertainment value, I think Tomodachi Life is a lot better. Like, the main reason this is better than the DS version is because it relies a lot on creating things yourself. It has arguably the best Mii creator out of any entry. The way, like, you can actually draw on the characters' faces. You can even draw out their outfits and stuff like that. Not a whole wide selection of outfits, you just got, like, simple shirts, dresses and stuff like that, some hats and stuff like that, but it's not like you can't even create, like, shorts. It's like you can create pants, but you can't create shorts, and so, it is limited, but it does give you a lot of creative freedom, and of course this won't be for everyone, because, a lot of people admit that they can't draw, and, I'm a guy who likes to draw. I'm not the best at it, though, but what bugs me is that, darn it, it's stuck on a Switch touchscreen. I hate drawing on the Switch. I had no problem with drawing on, like, a DS, a 3DS, or even the Wii U, but, the Switch is, it's built just like any other, phone touchscreen, and it's just so limited. It only works with rubber styluses, and rubber styluses suck. I like the plastic ones that are shaped like a pen, I miss those kind of touchscreens, and styluses, and so, yeah, it's like, if this was a computer game where I could draw using my, art tablet, that would have made this so much more enjoyable. But yeah, I hate drawing on this thing, and then it makes recording it a little frustrating, because there's so many times where, you're trying to record footage for this so you can upload it online, but then it comes to a point where one of the characters asks you to make something, and then you're forced to draw something out, and it's like, oh shoot, that means I gotta take this out of the console, because I'm not drawing with a game controller. I gotta draw with my hand, and so yeah, that makes things a little more complicated. But I love the things you can make in this, though. It beats the drawing in the Animal Crossing games, where it only let you draw with pixels on that. And then on the Switch version, it was horrible because they filtered everything you drew, so it didn't come out looking like a sharp pixel. It came out looking like a blob. They tried, like, smooth surfacing everything, and it ruined a lot of the drawings you tried making. So if you try making a pixel art of, you're just trying to make an accurate recreation of 8-bit Mario, it's not going to come out looking right, because they're going to round up all the edges, and it just comes out looking so wrong. And so for this game, I ended up starting off with Kingdom Hearts characters. I just called my island Whatever Island, because I thought it would be funny if the characters acted like they didn't care where they live, so they just called it Whatever. And so, my first Mii was Sora. And so, I then drew Kairi to kind of be like his love interest, and then I drew Riku, and then, I created a bunch of other characters from Kingdom Hearts one by one. It came to a point where I kind of ran out of Kingdom Hearts characters I wanted to make, and so I then moved on to Mario characters, I'm gonna add more characters down the line. Like, I got some that I'm gonna make from Studio Ghibli films. I ended up adding Shantae. I don't think she'll be in this video, though, because that was during one of my playthroughs where I didn't record footage for it yet. But, yeah, there probably will be more down the line, but for right now, so it starts off really simple, because, over the course of the game, you start off with very limited selections, and then you unlock more privileges across the game, and so, that, and you might learn a few secrets, which makes making art a lot better. So starting off, I didn't have costume-accurate outfits for, Sora, Riku, and Kairi, but then over the course of the game, when I got the customization features, I went back and drew them proper outfits. And so I decided to go with their Kingdom Hearts 2 designs, because I just think that was their best designs. I honestly did not care for their Kingdom Hearts 3 designs. I thought it looked like they were aging them down a bit instead of aging them up. And I don't know why they had to try making them look more childish. It just looked weird to me. I liked how they looked like cooler teenagers in Kingdom Hearts 2. Now, keep in mind that when Kingdom Hearts first came out, I was a kid, so a lot of people will grow up thinking like, ew, it's creepy that like someone ships Sora with Kairi because they're kids. And it's like, hey, I was a kid when they were kids, and it's not my fault I grew up and then the series fell behind. And so, you know, I still have nostalgia for these characters. And so, you know, to avoid the controversy, I decided to age up the characters. So, Sora, Riku, and Kairi, they're 18 in this island. So, they don't age either. I didn't like the idea of the characters eventually outgrowing their appearance, and so I decided to keep them as the age I set for them. And then it's like for the Mario characters, I just put them in their 20s. But yeah, so, yeah, like I said, this game can get really inappropriate with some of the things you can have the characters say. So, yeah, this is for mature audiences. I apologize if anything in this video offends anyone. So, I only recommend you guys watch this if you can handle mature content. Otherwise, you're going to be very offended. But, I hope you don't take it too personal. And so, don't worry, I'm not going to do commentary, though, because I want people to experience this uninterrupted. I just wanted to add a narrative going in so you know what to expect in this video, but I don't want to add commentary. I don't want to be laughing over everything. I don't want to spoil everything. I just want you guys to go into this not knowing what to expect, so it makes the reactions funnier when you see something come out of nowhere. And so, yeah, overall, I do recommend this game. Like, admittedly, I just wish there was a lot more to do in this game, but it's still really funny. But I'd only recommend this if you actually like creating things. If you're not a good artist, then you're probably not going to enjoy this that much, because the game is really fun when it asks you to create things. And that's the most fun I had with this, like creating... like when they ask you to create like a pet or a TV show or a video game, and you just got to draw something that'll appear on a screen or something. It's like, that was kind of fun. I have yet to create like houses though. Like you can create wallpapers and floor patterns. I have not done that yet. But you know, keep in mind it's mostly because I'm wanting to play this on the TV, and you got to take it out of the TV if you want to draw more accurately. And I'm just more focused on wanting to fill up the Mii's first, and then you know, occasionally I'll draw some food items, like, it asks for the food items, I ended up drawing in some of the Kingdom Hearts items, like the potions, the HP balls and stuff like that, and so, eventually I'm gonna have to create more, because, you know, I started making Mario characters, so I'm gonna have to end up making items based off the Mario series, and I'm not sure what your limit is. I know for Mii's, you can have up to 80 Mii's on your island, but then when it comes to the items you can create, I'm not sure what the limits for those are. I'm hoping it's not too strict, though. But yeah, overall, I'm having a fun time with this game. Just wish the gameplay had more variety, but it's still a lot of fun. I'm still getting some good laughs out of it. Darn it, I am so depressed. So, I was looking over my footage, and something went horribly wrong. So I had, like, hours of footage, and a lot of it's unusable because the audio, something went wrong with recording. It's like repeating the audio. It's like right after a character says something, they start repeating it, like 2 to 3 seconds later, and it's not only repeating their dialogue, it's repeating the background music and sound effects, so it just sounds like a jumbled mess, and it ruins all of the jokes I had. Only 2 of the video recordings I did came out fine. At worst, like, some of the audio got out of sync. That's something I can kind of fix just by dragging the audio a bit on the timeline. But that really depresses me, because some of those moments were so funny, and I'm never going to be able to relive those moments, because they were like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And, yeah, darn it. So, a lot of the funny interactions, I can't relive them anymore, because they already happened. You can't recreate them, and, oh, that pisses me off. I had hours of footage, and it's all for nothing. I mean, the best I can do is save screenshots of these, but it's not the same as listening to it, because the video footage came out fine. It's the audio that's messed up. So, next time I try recording some audio, I'm going to have to check my settings. I'm going to have to do like a dummy recording to make sure that the audio doesn't sound messed up when I record, but that really bums me out. I was really looking forward to making this video, and it's not going to be as funny as before because I'm missing a lot of the footage. Hello, SpongeGex here with another video game review. Today, I'm looking at StarFox for Nintendo Switch 2, yet another remake of Star Fox 64. which itself is already a reboot of StarFox for Super Nintendo. Altogether, this is the 5th time that Nintendo has retold the Lylat War story, along with being the 2nd time Star Fox 64 was remade, with the 3DS remake from 2011 being the first time it was remade. So, I'm a big Star Fox fan. I've been begging for a sequel as far back as Star Fox Assault from 2005. Instead, we got an awful fanfiction simulator called Star Fox Command. That one really killed off the series for the longest time, up until Star Fox Zero. Personally, I thought Star Fox Zero was okay, but it felt too familiar to Star Fox 64 since it just rehashed its plot and characters, except it had different levels and boss fights, and it just felt like a step down from what was introduced in Star Fox Assault, at least in my opinion. It just didn't feel like much new was added to it. So, when Nintendo confirmed that Fox is finally getting a new entry after a decade of inactivity, I was pretty excited, just to be underwhelmed that it's yet another Star Fox 64. Admittedly, I was still interested in getting it, because Star Fox 64 is still a good game, and the visuals and frame rate for the original and the 3DS remake are very outdated now. Plus, I didn't want this game to flop, because otherwise we would have been waiting yet another decade or more for hopes of another game coming out, and I just want to see a proper sequel finally, maybe even a decent reboot of Star Fox Adventures that mixes in more of the traditional Star Fox gameplay while giving Crystal a larger playable role. Like have it where Fox's levels are the traditional, rail shooting levels, but then he also gets some new levels where he gets to explore on foot and use, like, his weapons similar to, like, in Star Fox Assault, but with better controls. And then meanwhile, Crystal, she would have, where she rides dinosaurs, and she has, like, her staff and stuff like that. Like, I don't necessarily think they need to remake Star Fox Adventures. Like, they could try making this a more linear game with, a more arcadish style, but still keep in a lot of the story beats and elements from the original, along with making up new ones so the story feels more suitable for a Star Fox game. I don't know. I just want to see Adventures get a proper reboot, because I think it had a lot of cool ideas, and it would be a shame if it got erased from existence. I'd love to see them reintroduce it to where it actually fits the Star Fox brand a lot more. So, I'm gonna get the biggest negatives out of the way with this remake. The new character designs are awful looking. I don't mind giving the characters detailed fur or feathers, but why couldn't they just add more color? Why does it look so gritty? Like, why do their eyes just look so weird? Like, I don't know. This honestly looks more like a fan game than an official Star Fox game. It looks like something that someone made in Unreal Engine or something, but I'm not saying this out of a bias towards Star Fox 64 like everyone else. Like, everyone's saying how the N64 designs look so much better. To tell the truth, I thought the character designs looked awful, even on the N64, even back when I was a little kid. The characters just looked too blocky, and they had such blank, soulless stares. I just thought they looked weird. It wasn't until the GameCube era with Super Smash Bros. Melee where I finally started loving the character designs. Fox looked so much cooler in Super Smash Bros. Melee, along with his follow-up game Star Fox Adventures, and even Assault. And then Nintendo just flat out ruined his design with this awful Star Fox Command redesign, and they kept basing every redesign of him off of that Command design. It was basically like in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, and then Ultimate even Star Fox Zero, it was basically just the Star Fox Command model, but with more detail. And I don't know, I just didn't like his command design. It just looks so weird. Like, why did they make his head stretched out to look a little taller? I don't know, it just looked weird. I thought all the characters looked horrible in Command, not a single design looked good, and so I kind of hated how it feels like every other game afterwards was just trying to add on top of the Command design. So, I'll at least give it this. Okay, the new designs are not good, but they're still better than Command. So, either way, I really do hope to see that they do revert back to a similar style, like in Star Fox Assault or something. Just take those designs, but improve upon them. That's all I can ask for. But so yeah, the character designs, they're pretty ugly. But yeah, everyone has bashed on the character designs enough, so let's talk about something different. I will admit the rest of the game does look great, though. They did a great job at making these rough and muddy looking N64 models and textures. They did a great job at reimagining them to look more detailed and sharper looking. For example, in the original N64 game, when the crew arrives at the first level Corneria, Fox and crew are supposed to be horrified how Andross's fleet are destroying the city. Honestly, I could barely tell the place was being destroyed in the original game. All the game's textures look dirty to begin with. It's harder to tell what's supposed to be normal and what's supposed to be destroyed. The remake does a much better job at making Corneria look like it's under attack by showing more singed and destroyed buildings, burnt to death plant life, and it really gives off a better sense of how serious Andros is as a threat. The visual effects are also a huge improvement, with more detailed looking explosions and lighting and destruction. My only complaint with the visuals are that, due to the more realistic lighting and coloring choices, it can be harder to see obstacles in certain levels. Everything looks darker when inside tunnels, caves, temples, and such. So when I first went into the underwater level, I was thinking, oh god, that level was impossible to see in the original game, even on the 3DS remake, due to all the fog and bad draw distance, along with its low frame rate, so I was hoping it would look and perform a lot better on Switch 2. Sadly, it's still as foggy, dark, and murky as ever. Bummer. I mean, I understand that it's a dark underwater level. Of course it's going to be dark down there, but I was hoping they would have introduced some way to make the draw distance easier to look at. Make the light source of Fox's torpedoes help show more visual range, maybe? I don't know. I just thought it still looked a little too dark and murky. However, what's worse than the new character designs are the new voice actors and new dialogue. Now, I'm not going to pretend that the StarFox 64 voice actors were great. They were honestly really campy, but at least the characters had personality. Whenever the player died, the characters gave off these screams like they were devastated to lose a dear friend. I don't feel any of that emotion in this remake. It just sounds like the new voice actors are just doing it without even trying. A more serious version of StarFox 64 could have been a great idea. I'm not against the idea of StarFox 64 being retold as a more serious story, but the voice actors just do not convey the drama they're trying to go for in this reimagining. They needed a lot better voice actors. It's like it can't decide if it wants to be more serious or cartoony. I mean, because you got characters like Fox or Falco where they're trying to sound more serious, and then you still got the silly cartoony characters like Peppy and Slippy, and I don't know, it's kind of distracting. Even a lot of the villains sound a lot worse, where they kind of sounded intimidating in the original, now they just sound like campy anime villains. It just sounds like Nintendo got the cheapest voice cast of anime dubbed voice artists they could find. I'll at least say Slippy's new voice is less annoying than his previous voices. Fox and Falco aren't the worst sounding, just not as good as past voices they've had. Peppy sounds way too nasally, it's nowhere near as good as his original voice actor, rest in peace. All of Star Wolf sounds absolutely terrible. Pigma was probably the only one who sounded okay. I mean, at least his voice kind of makes him sound like he's a traitorous pig, but Leon sounds way too flamboyant, and Andrew sounds like a spoiled, whiny rich bitch. I mean, I get that that's technically what he is, but he had a deeper voice in some of the past games, so it's just kind of weird trying to make him sound like a more flamboyant version of Draco Malfoy or something. I don't know, it just makes him too prissy. I don't like it. It just does not match his character design at all. So, the only character that I thought sounded like an improvement in this remake was Kat, oddly enough. I mean, too bad the same cannot be said for her redesign, because yikes, that's one of the roughest looking character redesigns ever. I mean, for crying out loud, she was a pink cat. Why did they make her white all of a sudden? I don't know, it's just weird looking. So, on top of that, the writing is not very good either. I think a lot of the changes to the original script are very distracting. Like, it didn't bug me that much in the 3DS version. A lot of people got mad because the 3DS version, like, replaced lines like, hey Einstein, I'm on your side, with, hey Genius, I'm on your side. It didn't bug me that much, but yeah, the dialogue in this remake did kind of bug me because they just rewrote it too drastically. And a lot of the lines they came up with just do not match how good they were in the original. And then when there comes a rare moment where an original line from the original game actually does appear in the remake, it's shocking because it just comes out of nowhere considering how drastically altered the dialogue is throughout. So aside from the disappointing voice acting, the rest of the game's audio is actually great. The music is incredibly well remade. I can't say there's a single track in this remake that sounded better on the N64 version. It's all a huge improvement in the best of ways. It's just too bad that these are all tracks that we've already heard reorchestrations of in other games, like Star Fox Assault remade a lot of that music with a live orchestra, so it's not like we haven't already heard this music being done really well in an orchestrated form, and then some of it even appeared as remixes in like Super Smash Bros. Games, so I'll at least say it's a lot better than at least the Mario Party Switch games where all the remade minigames sound even worse than the N64 original. So yeah, at least I can say, despite how the music sounds familiar in this, at least it sounds so much better than the N64 original. So So while the character designs, writing, and voice acting were rough, how does the rest of the game hold up? Well, as a fan of StarFox 64, I'm happy to say that this remake did not disappoint. Not only is the gameplay incredibly well remade, but it's better than ever. It looks and runs a lot smoother, the controls feel smoother as well. I do kind of wish they gave us control customization though, because I hate having the boost and brake buttons so close to the laser firing button. If it let us add more button options, I would have assigned to have the boost button assigned to the R button, while adding the brakes to the L button. I mean, it's tricky and uncomfy to try firing lasers by mashing the A button repeatedly, while also needing to hold the B or X button to either boost or brake. It would have been easier if I could just use my index fingers on the shoulder buttons to brake or boost. I mean, the tilt and barrel roll buttons are already assigned to both the L, ZL, R, and ZR buttons. Would it really have killed them to give us the option to spare one of those buttons to another command? I just don't get it. It just feels like a waste of 2 buttons. Like, why do we have to have both of them using the same function? Why can't we customize one of them to be a little different? So, this was not part of my original script when I recorded for this video, but after recording audio for this video, I went back to try out the original N64 version of StarFox 64 on the Switch's Nintendo 64 Online catalog. I just wanted to get more footage so I could compare the remake to the original during a few parts, but while I was doing it, I couldn't help but notice that I thought the aiming was actually a lot better on the N64. It felt a lot more accurate, where I feel like it's a little trickier on the Switch 2 remake. Otherwise, the game is still playable, but yeah, originally I was saying the controls were kind of better. Movement-wise, they're better, but when it comes to aiming, I'd say it's a little more off. But otherwise, it's still a good recreation overall, even if it's not as accurate as the N64 version. So, another issue I noticed upon revisiting the N64 version is that, so in the N64 version, during boss fights, it gives you a much better view of the boss, so the camera's more far zoomed out, so it gives you a much better view of the boss and all the parts that you need to shoot down from it. I noticed that on the remake, the camera is more zoomed in towards the boss, so it makes it real tricky to try to aim at certain weak points of the boss. It was especially noticeable during the boss fight, during the level before the true ending of Venom. So, I can't remember the name of it, but it was that, boss where it had, like, the 3 tentacles that you had to dodge while button mashing at its core once it finally opens up. It's a really tricky boss fight, and it's a lot harder in this remake because it's harder to get a good aim on those hands. Not only is the aiming much harder, but because they're off-screen a lot of the times because the camera's so zoomed in on the boss, it makes it a lot harder to defeat it. So, the game's still manageable, but I found it actually is a lot harder on this version compared to the N64 original. Some people will probably appreciate that, though. Some people probably think Star Fox 64 was a little too easy. So, yeah, at least they got a bigger challenge in this game. But, to me, I kind of prefer the camera from the N64 version, along with how much better the aiming was in general. It felt kind of off. I didn't really notice it when playing this, but when going back to the N64 version, it was a lot more noticeable. Admittedly, the somersault and U-turn functions took some getting used to. I mean, I was so used to how they were on both the N64 and GameCube controller, where on the N64 you use the C buttons, where the GameCube version you use the C stick. So now they're mapped to the D-pad, which I thought that would have been really uncomfortable, having it share the same side as the joystick, But luckily, it wasn't too bad in the end. It's pretty quick to take your thumb off the joystick and quickly press it and go back to the control stick without messing up. I thought, you would have messed up if you tried doing that, and no, you can use it pretty sparingly. So, there is still a way for you to use the right analog stick, like you could in the GameCube games, to use the somersault and U-turn, but it requires tapping the X button at the same time, and it's really tricky to try timing it right. There were so many times where I tried doing it that way and it messed up, so I just ended up using the D-pad for the rest of the game when it came to performing those maneuvers. A part of me wishes the game had optional quality of life improvements. There are times where I feel like it's tricky to aim your lasers while trying to move your R-wing at the same time, so it would have been cool to have the option to have assisted aiming where your lasers home in more towards nearby objects or enemies to make firing a lot easier. I kind of wish they threw in some additional bonus levels as well. It still has traditional path systems, where depending on your actions in certain levels, it will alter which planets you end up proceeding to next during the single-player mode. tries encouraging players to replay the game many times to try unlocking the other paths and planets. So unlike the original N64 game, which did not have a level select, the remake offers a challenge mode which lets us freely replay these levels as many times as we want, as long as we've already unlocked them during the main playthrough. So you don't have to rework your way through the story mode every time you want to replay a level. That's nice. Though you will have to go through them again in campaign mode if you want to attempt unlocking all of the gold medals for unlocking in expert mode, which is a real shame. They should have made that a possible option just by playing the mission modes. It is pretty neat how the game tried expanding the story by not only giving a prologue to James McCloud's final mission before he was betrayed and killed, but before every level we get a cutscene of Fox and Company having these mission briefings where they discuss which planets they should head through next, what objectives they'd have to accomplish, and what threats awaiting them. So it's a very nice addition for newcomers who've never played the original Star Fox 64. This may give them information to be well informed on what lies ahead in a level, and it'll get them more prepared for what type of level they can expect. Most of the cutscenes feel very similar to each other, but occasionally you get some standout cutscenes. My favorite new cutscene in the game is the one where, during the path in the game where you fail to save Slippy in Sector X, he crash lands onto the planet Titania. We get a great cutscene where General Pepper is ordering Fox to ignore Slippy and continue on with their journey to defeat Andross. Fox gets outraged at Pepper for telling him to leave his friend behind, so he chews the General out. Even Peppy Hare can't help but agree with Fox on this one. It shows some emotion and attitude out of these characters, and it was a pleasant surprise in the game where most of the writing and voice acting felt pretty lackluster. And apparently I'm not alone. I've seen plenty of people sharing this cutscene online, praising it for how great of a character Fox is during this cutscene. So for those who may have never played any Star Fox game, the story involves a galactic war where an evil scientist monkey named Andross was performing these dangerous experiments which caused major destruction. Andross was banished by the general of Corneria named General Pepper, as he exiles him to live on a planet called Venom. So, Andross formed a deadly army of dangerous weapons and soldiers to try taking over the galaxy by force. A crew of bounty hunters named StarFox are called in by General Pepper to investigate Andross and see what he's up to. StarFox was led by a fox named James McCloud, along with his best friend, a rabbit named Peppy Hare, and a pig named Pigma. Pigma ends up betraying James and Peppy, as it's revealed that he was working for Andross all along, and he leads them into an ambush. James tells Peppy to get out of there while he fights off the army, leading to James's death off screen. So back in the N64 Classic, we never got to see any of this unfold. We just had an opening narration telling us the setup, but not showing us anything. The remake expanded upon this opening by showing the day of the Venom incident, leading to James's death. It was a nice addition, but I would be lying if I didn't admit I wish they did it a little better, because I don't really feel like it showed enough. It would have been cool to see a little bit more of James's life before this event happened, and then, they were too chicken to even show how James died. You just see Peppy, flying off screen while James says to leave it to him, and then it just skips to, Fox. Now he's our protagonist. It's like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. I was hoping they would have made it more emotional by showing what happened during his final moments, and that's kind of a shame. We didn't even see exactly how he died, or, obviously it's implied he got shot down, but it still would have been cool to, see his ship actually take damage before, it fades to black or something. It's like, yeah, it kind of left us hanging. That's a bummer. So this remake has a lot of nice unlockables where we can get character bios, which reveal a lot of the story's lore. It makes me kind of jealous that we never got a movie, a TV show, or even a prequel game to actually show off more of these moments they're describing. For instance, did anyone know that Fox lost his dad at the age of 13? And did anyone know that he was currently 18 during the events of Star Fox 64? Did you know that Fox and Slippy went to the same academy together, where they became best friends? A lot of interesting details that I hope Nintendo considers exploring someday in some form. Let's face it, this is what Star Fox Zero should have been. This should have been a prequel to Star Fox 64, not another reimagining of it. So, anyways, back to the main story. We cut to 5 years later, where James's son, Fox McCloud, took his father's footsteps as the new leader of Star Fox, accompanied by his late dad's best friend, Peppy, who serves as Fox's mentor, along with his best friend, Slippy Toad, who was a frog mechanic, who customized and modified the cruise ships known as the R-Wings, along with inventing 2 modifications of the R-Wing, including a submarine called the Blue Marine, and a tank called the Landmaster. And finally, there's Falco Lombardi, a rude and cocky bird with attitude. A lot of people have no idea why Falco is even a member of StarFox to begin with, since he's constantly bickering with Fox and trying to prove he's better than Fox at everything. Falco basically serves as the team's ace pilot. So the game overall has a very arcade-ish feel. It can take about 2 hours to beat the story mode. It's a rail shooter where we fly around and shoot down enemy ships while evading obstacles and attacks. The ending of each level leads to a big boss fight, so along the way we have our 3 teammates to look after, but they are more of a pain than anything. They're constantly getting in danger, and there are certain levels where trying to get an objective done while trying to save your partners at the same time can be a real juggling act. You honestly feel like you're better off without them throughout the game, but there are certain objectives where you need them alive for certain things to trigger. So the game gives you a better score if your team survives at the end of a level. Now, Fox's friends will usually tell you something to let you know when they're in danger. All you have to do is defeat the enemies that are chasing them before the enemies deplete your allies' HP. And if your allies' HP is depleted, they make a retreat and they'll miss out on the next level, and it won't be until 2 levels later where their ships will be repaired and they'll be ready to rejoin you on your mission. Some allies need to be around for certain events or paths to open. As early as level 1, if you want to get the alternate path, you need to keep Falco alive, which requires flying under these stone arches in the water, which triggers an event where Falco finds a shortcut past a waterfall, leading to a different path and a different boss fight. So, unlike the original game, this remake does a much better job at hinting new players to try flying under all these arches. I mean, it's a secret that's so easy to miss in the original game. There's probably a lot of players who never even knew that was a thing unless they looked up a guidebook or something. So, in this remake, Falco makes a remark how flying under all those arches is a great flight exercise, and he asks Fox if he thinks he can handle them. So yeah, that's a nice tip to try to encourage players to try going under all of them, without flat out telling you to do it. So, out of all of the partners to keep alive, Slippy is the most important, since he's the only member who can reveal a boss's HP. The problem is that Slippy is the most accident-prone, and you'll need to be saving him more than any ally across this game. Across the game, there are a few power-ups to collect, including laser upgrades, where collecting more than one keeps upgrading your lasers to be more powerful, starting with stronger lasers to even eventually getting dual lasers. Smart bombs allow us to unleash a massive explosion that clears out a huge wave of enemies. We can carry up to 9 smart bombs at a time. Flying into these silver rings restores our HP. If we collect 3 rare golden rings that are hidden across the levels, we can upgrade our HP meter. Sadly, these stats go away upon entering the next level, but we can keep all the spare smart bombs that we collected over time. So, there's many branching paths, which gives plenty of replay value. It took me over 10 hours to play on every planet at least once. You have a life system where losing all of your lives will force you to start all over from the beginning of a level. It's less harsh than the N64 version, where if you got a game over, you were forced to restart from the very beginning, the very first level. It didn't ask if you wanted to restart from the level you were currently on. So, I admittedly lost a few lives in the remake, but I never got a game over, at least, unlike my younger self, where I was no stranger to getting game overs when I first played this game as a kid. So, there is a way to play the game where getting a game over forces you to lose your progress, but that's only if you unlock the expert difficulty, which I was not able to unlock so far because getting the expert difficulty requires unlocking certain high score medals in every level on normal difficulty, which may require a lot of practice, and some levels are tricky when it comes to getting these medals. You cannot get these medals if you're playing on easy mode, so that was the whole reason. You know, usually when playing a game, I like to start off on easy and work my way up in the difficulty, but when I saw you're not going to get anything for easy mode, I decided to skip it, so I just went straight to normal mode in this case. So, all 15 levels from the original games return, with the exact same missions as before, no additional secrets added. A part of me kind of wishes they did expand the game just a little bit to include some bonus missions. The only main difference is that there's a new Forced Upon training section after the new prologue, where Fox and Co. are testing out these new flight simulators. Apparently you can skip this by pausing and quitting. I didn't know that at the time, but either way, I'm guessing if you skipped it, you would have missed out on the additional cutscene that plays immediately afterwards, where you see the characters taking off their headsets and complimenting it and all that. And so, I think the original game did have a training mode, but it was treated like a separate feature. It wasn't treated like an in-universe simulation, so it's kind of interesting how they reintroduced the training mode to actually fit with the game's story a little bit, but otherwise, yeah, you don't have to watch it. You can skip it, because it is an annoying, like, it is a pretty pesky training mode. So you can easily skip it if you don't want to go through it. Now, since the game introduced this training through a simulator, it would have been cool to see the game use that as an excuse for more levels. Like, you could have had it where after playing through the game, it said like you unlocked a bonus level in the simulator or something, and that would have been a great way to add new levels and bosses and enemies into the game without messing with the original game story or continuity. Now, there's some idea for future DLC, maybe, Nintendo. So, just like the original game, there's a bad ending, which most first-time players are likely to end up getting, and then there's also the true ending, which requires completing tougher objectives and paths. I feel like most playthroughs will lead to players going to the level Macbeth, which is a train level where you're riding around on the tank called the Landmaster. So, gaining the path to the true ending usually relies on whether you're able to shoot all 8 of these levers needed to stop the train boss fight, and they are really tricky to activate, especially for first-time players. Failing to do so will force you to go down a path that leads to the bad ending. But luckily, if you messed up, you're allowed to pause and restart from the last checkpoint instead of being forced to start the whole level over like in the original game, so that's a nice addition they added. So whichever paths you take, they'll both lead to the same final level, Venom, but depending on whether you're on the path of good or bad, the final level in battle will alter. So if you end up taking the bad path, you end up going through a proper level of Venom, where you fight off more waves of enemies while avoiding dangerous obstacles, leading to a boss fight in a temple, where you fight off a mechanical golem. After that, Fox heads off to face off against the final boss, Andross. So, the final battle, it's still good, and they did a great job at remaking Andross in HD, but I kinda liked it better in the N64 version. Andross just looked more unnerving in that version with his primitive model, and there's something about the way his face moved, even on an old N64 game, it just looks so unnerving. And I liked how it felt like he sucked Fox into some nightmarish green void. In the remake, we're no longer in some kind of void, we're just in some Sith Lord-looking base with its reddish tint and all that, and it's just not as exciting as this nightmarish void like in the original. It made it feel like Andross is so powerful that he created this realm that we're fighting him in, and it's like he took us into his own domain or something. I kind of like that, and that vibe is missing in this remake. So we shoot Andross's eyes to weaken and blind him for a bit, followed by shooting the weak points on his hands, while dodging his punches and laser attacks. He'll try sucking us into his mouth, which we have to steer left or right and apply the brakes to avoid getting sucked in. He'll spit out a bunch of debris, which we have to shoot at. Now, some of the debris carry these smart bombs, which we need to set off in his mouth the next time he tries sucking us in. We keep doing this over and over, along with firing at his eyes until finally his face explodes. Now what's this? Andross is a robot? So we have to avoid as he tries lunging and biting us, as we wait for the right moment to shoot his eyes again until he blows up. Huh. I remember this fight being a lot longer in the original game. Maybe I was just a lot worse at this game back then, I don't know, but... So, the story ends with Fox meeting back up with his crew, and he can't help but feel like they fell for one of Andross's tricks, and they fear that the real Andross is still out there. As it cuts back to Andross's defeated robot, and we hear Andross laughing in the background, implying that the real Andross is still out there and needs to be taken down. So the original game basically had a different ending, which was mostly the same whether you got the good ending or bad ending. They both lead to a cutscene where Fox and crew fly down to Corneria for an award ceremony, where General Pepper wants Fox and crew to join the Cornerian army. But Fox turns it down, claiming he and his crew prefer doing things their own way, as they race off towards their next adventure. The biggest difference in the final cutscenes in the original game was that the bad ending led to an ominous endgame screen showing a ghostly image of Andross appearing on screen along with Andross's evil laugh being heard in the background. So the good ending excluded the Andross is still alive implication, and it has an alteration to what happened immediately after defeating the real Andross, but more on that in a bit. So, going to the good ending path of this game, in the remake, it once again leads to Venom, but instead of playing through a final level to reach Andross, it just cuts to Fox and crew immediately arriving at Andross's base. But we're halted by a rival group of bounty hunters called Star Wolf, led by Wolf O'Donnell, along with the traitorous pig Pigma, a chameleon named Leon, and the nephew of Andross named Andrew. So these lowlives ended up taking a job offer from Andross to destroy StarFox. So one of the paths at an early point in the game could lead to an early boss fight against Star Wolf, and it is possible to take a path where you end up fighting them twice in one run. Regardless, Starwolf are a lot tougher in this Venom fight, with higher defenses, stronger attacks, and greater evasiveness. It takes a lot of practice. My best advice is to forget about using charge shots, just keep mashing the A button to fire, keep an eye on your radar, keep barrel rolling, and make sure to do a somersault when the enemy is locked on from behind. So once all 4 members of Starwolf are finally defeated, Fox goes inside of Andross's base to take him on alone. During the bad ending, the path to Andross was a straight flight with a few defense traps, and we needed to destroy them along the way, along with a few small items we could collect. So in the good ending path, there are 3 split paths that we have to take, while making sure not to fly into any of the tunnel walls. So just stay on the left path to collect power-ups along the way, for you get nothing if you stick to the right paths. So we basically get the same boss fight as before, but it goes on longer once we blow up Andross's face. So instead of seeing a robot underneath, instead we get the disturbing sight of a giant brain with eyeballs and tentacles, revealing Andross's true form from all of his mad experiments. This true form was much more disturbing in the N64 version, for he was a lot fleshier looking. His eyeballs were organic and veiny. The remake really toned this down by removing a lot of the creepy fleshiness of this. His eyes and tentacles are now completely robotic, and his cerebellum is now heavily shielded by mechanical parts. His brain is now shielded with a dome. I don't know, it's just kind of lame how toned down this was compared to the N64 and 3DS versions. So we fly around trying not to get below Andross, or he'll grab us and tear us apart with his tentacles. So we just fly high up in the air and stay as far away from Andross as possible. We take out his flying eyeballs, so we have less obstacles to worry about while trying to finish him off. So do not fire directly at Andross's brain, or he'll keep teleporting away. You just gotta try to get behind him and shoot the machinery around the cerebellum until he's defeated. He tries self-destructing on us to take Fox down with him, but suddenly Fox sees the spirit of his dad in his dad's R-Wing appearing, as he urges Fox to follow him for an escape route. I gotta admit, the remake did an amazing job at remaking this scene to be more dramatic. They mute out all the explosions, and we have this angelic chorus singing as James leads Fox to safety. As Fox escapes, he can't help but wonder if his dad was really there to help him escape, or if it was all in his head. So we cut to the original ending from the N64 game, as it's been expanded upon to have more character interactions. Sadly, it excludes the shot of Fox and crew running through a sunset as the mothership, the Great Fox, ascends from below in the background, but we already got an HD reimagining of that cutscene from the ending of Star Fox Zero, so it's not a huge loss. Now, I think it was an interesting idea to give the bad ending a completely new ending, while keeping the traditional award ceremony exclusive to the good ending. Aside from that, there's plenty more to do in this game compared to both the original and the 3DS remake. There's a mission mode that rewards us with cosmetics for the multiplayer mode. If you complete all the missions within a level, you get a special item. So there's even expert mode missions, which I'm honestly too afraid to attempt because they sound like a nightmare to complete. So otherwise, I was able to beat the normal mode missions for the first 3 planets so far. Luckily, you don't have to beat all the missions in one run. That would have been really harsh and annoying if it was set up that way. I haven't tried the online multiplayer mode yet, but I can imagine it would be a lot of fun since the original game's multiplayer mode was pretty good. So in the original games, the multiplayer mode was basically like the dogfights against Starwolf, except it was 2 to 4 players fighting each other until the last one is standing. This updated multiplayer mode has more players, and it now has online matchmaking. So throughout the game, we can unlock some interesting stuff. So you got basic stuff like profile icons and backgrounds. There are 3 exclusive sets of icons and profile pictures that we can only unlock if we have the Super Smash Bros. Amiibos of Fox, Falco, and Wolf. I was only able to get the Fox and Falco exclusives, for I never got the Wolf amiibo, so it does kind of suck that there are features that are hidden behind these amiibo figures that aren't even made anymore. I don't think they make new copies of these anymore, but it's not the end of the world if you can't unlock them, though. They're honestly not that great of unlockables regardless. So, if we have a webcam attached to our Switch 2, we can use unlockable motion capture avatars, where we can control characters across the game from completing certain challenges. So at first I thought it would just be limited to Fox, Peppy, Falco, and Slippy, but there are more characters we can unlock down the line, including James McCloud, Cat, Bill, the members of Star Wolf, the bosses, and even Andros himself. It can be silly to just make stupid faces and watch these StarFox characters mimicking our reactions. Sadly, the faces are very limited. We can only control the characters' faces, so if you want to do something funny with like the character's hands, sadly you cannot, it does not capture your hand motions. I sadly did not get the best reception since my apartment's living room has no light source, and the lamp I bought to light up the room does not do a good job at lighting up the whole room, so the dim lighting made it harder for my camera to accurately read my face, making a lot of the motions look twitchy. So this motion capture can even be used in multiplayer to display our characters inside of the communication profiles used across the game story mode. So we can actually see our opponents' interactions as we compete against them. That's not a bad idea. There's even silly face filters where instead of controlling an entire character, it will just add certain character features onto our heads. So you can have like Fox or Peppy's ears grow out of your head, have Slippy's hat, or even Falco's beak. Just really uncanny looking stuff, but it's still pretty funny. So, it's still a fun novelty, and I really hope to see this in more future games. I'd love to see this type of side feature included in like a future Mario Party, a Super Smash Brothers, or even a Pokemon game. Just let the players goof around pretending to, you know, control the characters' faces. That could be a lot of fun. It'd also be cool to see other third-party games using this in the future, like letting us control Sonic the Hedgehog characters' faces, or even characters from Kingdom Hearts. Overall, StarFox is a great remake, and I really hope it sells well so we can finally get a new sequel with new levels and stories to tell. Something we haven't gotten since Star Fox Assault from 2005. Sure, the character designs and voice acting are pretty bad, but the rest of the game easily makes up for it. So if you love the original game, then you'll surely have a blast at this remake, even if you don't like every alteration they made to the dialogue or visuals. I just wish some areas weren't so dark looking, but it's overall a visual improvement over the previous builds of this game. If you're not a fan of arcade-styled shooting games with high scores and all that, you might not like this game, but despite its short runtime, it's got plenty of replay value with a lot of different paths to take, and all the missions and unlockables to aim for. I give StarFox for Nintendo Switch 2 an 8 out of 10. That's all I have to show for now. Thank you for watching, see you next time, and have a great day.